All right. Says we're live.
What's up, guys?
What's up, everybody?
What's going on?
So, just so y'all know, I don't think it says it in the actual chat because Mile High is just like way above and early every single week that we're actually streaming. He already did a $5 super chat. So just because he's done that, I'd like to let everybody know, if you are watching, that option is available. It's much appreciated if you do, and I'll always call out your chats because that's what we do here. And I'll probably call out your chats anyway if they're featured, if it's something about what we're talking about, or if they're just cool. All right, who do we got? We got Judd in the chat. We got RC Mitch. RC Mitch, are you going to be there tomorrow for the competition? If not, you should be. Anyways, welcome to the RC Talk Show, you guys. This is the weekly thing that we do every week that we're not having a show, which next week, is it next week or the week after we're going to have another show? I'll get to that in a few moments, but we got Brian and Jake and Jose in the chat, and we got Sean Lewis Media. Sean Lewis is going to be on this stream in a few weeks, in June sometime. I need to look at the calendar, but he'll be on here. Where was I going with this? Yeah. Every night, not every night, every week, Saturday night, usually at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, give or take a few minutes so that we can figure out our streaming issues. We're just going to go around the announcements, and then we'll hit it in with our special guest, Jeremy with Driftwell. So, hold on one moment here. So, to start off, we're going to do announcements. Chris Clayson, everybody. Chris, the old man with a Subaru, is now part of Team PDX. What are they calling it? Is it just Team PDX, or is it PDX Underground Team?
Team PDX.
Okay. Team PDX. So if you do see Team PDX in California at the end of this month, look for the shirts and sweaters that have roses on them. Right? The roses?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm sure most of us will be wearing something like that tomorrow.
Or just the shirts of the tracks that they go to.
Yep. But yeah, we added Chris to the team last night. It was we've been talking about it for a while, and I think everybody was pretty much on board, and I was too. But I wanted to see him make some improvements with his driving, because he drives great, outside of the competition, but in our Tandem Tuesdays and stuff like that, he always deals with nerves a little bit, and.
Yep.
But the last couple of weeks in our Tuesday series, he podiumed, and he's been doing a lot better. So it was it was a good time. It was nice because we were all there, because obviously DJ is out of town now. He left this morning to Alaska. So yeah, we were all there. Got to give him a sticker, and we'll get his shirt and body and everything rolling too.
Right on. As a reminder, if you haven't registered for SDC, our series, and if you're competing, you should do so because it's free and it's going to be your entry ticket. You only have to compete in at least 50% or podium of the competitions. And that's any one of the competitions for podium. So there's that. Calendar events. There's always Tandem Tuesday that's coming up, which they are just about coming to the end of this series, right?
Yeah, next week is the final round of the series, although it's pretty much it's all been kind of ironed out. So this one will just be more for fun, but I'm sure we'll start another one pretty soon after that.
Right on. June 8th is the Slammed Enough car show at the Expo Center. So back at where we typically are, the normal place. We are confirmed there, so it is a thing. I'm sure that the rules, the stipulations are going to be the same. Do keep an eye out if we might need to end up paying for power. That's usually an unknown, so hopefully it comes to us at free, because it's always cool when it is. August 2nd is ES Fest in the Salem Fairgrounds, so that'll be fun. We haven't done that show yet. Did the guy that runs ES Fest come and talk to you, Logan?
Yep, sure did.
Right on.
Seems like a pretty cool guy. I showed him, the good things and the bad things about what we had there at that show, and I think he's definitely excited to have us at his show.
Right on. Okay, and then of course, there's actually one more show that we kind of got word of. However, I think Jake only posted about it. Hey, if you need a RC drift track, let us know. Forget which show it is though. And of course, October 4th, 5th, and 6th is Super G Worlds. Be ready. All right, without further ado, let's get into it. Let's get our special guest here. I have my list, my random questions here, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more interesting than usual. So we've got Jeremy with Driftwell here as our special guest. Jeremy, can you go ahead and just give us a brief introduction of who you are, and then I've got some questions that we can just shotgun fire at you.
Sweet. Jeremy Meyer, Fresno, California. We've been in Central Valley, well, at least RC drifting since like maybe 2010, 2011. Before we were lucky enough to have rear wheel drive cars available that were just out of the box, and struggle busted all the way in. And we've been here in Fresno for ever since. We started at our local hobby town. They let us have a Friday night during their board game night. So they did like D&D and like all this stuff there. It was super rad. So they let us drive after hours. They closed at like 6, and then we stayed till midnight on a carpet track in the back, which was they slicked up for the on-road racing. And so our tires would build up, like get bigger and bigger as we drove around the track. You have to scrape that stuff off. But from there, we built a little basement track at my old house. And then obviously once I built my own track, I got a bug and I never went back. So yeah, we're still doing it, man. Just we have a small track that we used to think never translated over to big tracks for comp. And then in the last 2 years, we've found out that was very much wrong. So
it works.
Yeah, exactly. Track layout setup. We try to, even though it's small, the length of our track is like 29 feet, the whole length. And we just set it up to where it's drivable, try to find turns that transfer to stuff. Obviously the sweepers we don't get, but we have an outdoor track we kind of mess around with. But again, the outdoor to indoor doesn't transfer over as well as most people would think. And,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Sean Lewis is saying that setup is so sick. So where are we at right now?
So this is Driftwell. This is actually the only track that we have for drifting anywhere near Fresno. Sadly, we don't have many shops that are drift specific, or even we've tried a couple people. The hobby town here doesn't carry drift stuff now. They say they want to. They've changed owners and stuff and locations, and we understand it's a little bit of a hard entry in. And then it's our biggest store around. It's a hobby town. You'd think that they'd have a little more support, but again, I think they're just friends. I don't really know the whole thing. Obviously, I'm not a business side of it, but apparently they're not all tied into where they all get the same stuff, So right. Yeah, I guess I don't know if it's called a franchise when it's something like that, but the guys here are trying hard. They've been getting some crawler, like 124 scale crawler comps going. And then we have a place called Cycle Art, and they used to do the drags. I think they're also doing a crawler stuff, and they helped us out a lot in the beginning. Ended up ordering a bunch of stuff that was for like RMXs, and not a lot of RMX guys here. So they sat on his wall. Kind of leaves a bad taste in your mouth as a store owner going into something to just have a wall of $1,000 of parts you can't sell, So we try, but here, my shop, we don't really sell. We have some used stuff here and there, consignment guys. We have I have an MRX, I have a Travis, there's a Galm on the wall, I have all kinds of stuff that people bring in and sell. And then a bunch of our 3D printing buddies will bring stuff in for sale. But yeah, this is the local track. Yeah, it's a central located. We're actually like 2 minutes off of 99. So if you guys ever pass through, I mean, it's so simple to get here. But Yeah, it's cool. We let a lot of people like a couple of the DS guys came through, and you just let them sleep on the track, man. Like, you just bring a cot, sleep on the track. I live 5 minutes away. You guys use this as your hotel room and enjoy the evening, you know?
Nice.
So, and then a couple of guys didn't even sleep, man. They're up drift until 3:30, 4 o'clock in the morning. So, but yeah, and then there's a sim rig here that everyone uses. So it's a $5 track fee here, and you get sim rig and track. So, I mean, we have a lot of fun, you know?
That's sick.
Yeah, it's fun. We're open every day. I'm here literally every day. It's hard for me not to be here. And then our posted days are Thursday and Sunday. So
Gotcha.
Yep.
So we were talking before this chat with Jeremy here about a Seto and a specific car pack. He said the Low Style Gang car pack. So if you ever want to go there and you want to drift the Tofu shop, apparently, you can drift the Fujiwara's Tofu shop. Not just the 8.6, but the actual Tofu shop.
Yeah,
that's hilarious. And there's a Cloud Nimbus.
Yeah, so that car pack, again, it gets a little bit of hate. They're a little bit overpowered. It's like having a basic Tando Buddies car with 1,000 horsepower and double the angle. So it's not as easy to drive as those, but it has like that weird, not quite arcadey, you know, I mean, it's not full real, but it's not corny, you know? But the best part about those packs is, I was telling these guys earlier, is just like the wild style, like JDM vibe it gives you, being able to just do big wings, big lips, wild stuff. And so I recommend them for fun. And I know there's probably some guys on here that would that know that pack already.
Right on.
But
what kind of sim rig are you running? Like,
so we run a Sim Magic Alpha Mini.
Nice.
And we got the 10. We were like worried, do we get this one and that one, whatever. We came from a Thrustmaster TX.
So anything's an upgrade.
Yeah, well, the TX wasn't bad. I actually appreciated that one. Like I've used some of my other like Thrustmaster wheels here and there, but the TX was actually all right. And we put an aftermarket wheel and did our thing. But yeah, we thought we needed a bigger one. Man, I put it at 8 Newton meters is like, you want your hand still? It's like having no power steering, you know?
Yeah.
And it's ridiculous because you're like, I mean, I guess I get it. I haven't gotten into racing on the sim. I've got into sim and RC cars through drifting 1-1. So I never like got into racing. I've never been a race guy. You know, your time lapse. Yeah. I'm impressed, and I respect all forms of driving cars. People that know me are most of the time know I'm not a car show guy. Like my car's parked out front. I see it in the camera all day. The last thing I want to do is drive it somewhere and park it again. So I appreciate the guys that do it, but it saddens me. Sarah McLaughlin plays every time I pull into a car meet. Because I'm like, man, yeah, all the Skylines can't freaking drive. They're just parked in a garage. It's just crazy, man. But hey, to each their own. Again, it's the hobby. If it brings them in, let's do it, you know?
It's definitely like it's a part in your life where you love it and you appreciate it. And then for me, I'm just done and over it. It's so much work just to get to a show. You drive, for me, it was driving to the show, cleaning up my car again, doing the show, being absolutely bored because you can only walk the show so many times and take so many pictures, and then like chill with the guys.
Yeah.
And then just sit around the entire show.
Yeah, it's interesting. I like the idea. So lately, if we go, we bring a pop-up track. Obviously, if we're welcome to, that'll bring me to a show. So I mean, there again, like you said, it does have its moments, but for me, I drive to drift events within like 4 hours, 3 hours away. Like Apple Valley is like a 3.5 hour drive for us. Yeah. And so I'll drive my car there, put it on laps all day, and then drive home with AC, you know, like it's
right on.
I'm 41, man. I love it, but I need to be able to do it and not be just freaking broken, you know?
Yeah. Right.
And so it's crazy. Last season of SDC, we were doing NorCal region because we're 2 hours, you know, we can go NorCal or SoCal. It doesn't matter for us. So we did 2 seasons of NorCal, and some of the events, our drift events in Stockton, I help out with Outlaw Drift Series, which are just, I mean, they're wild bunch. People will talk whatever they have to say about these guys, but we're sending 12 car, 13 car trains of just randoms, and it's chaos, but so much fun. So yeah, and we would go, and so SDC would be Saturday at San Jose, and the next day would be Sunday Drift at Outlaw. So I would drive my drift car up to SDC in San Jose, stay overnight somewhere close, and then drive to Stockton from there and drift the next day all day in the big car, man. It was just extreme. Like, it took a lot out of me to do that, you know?
The weekends of drift.
Oh man, but that again, it's, I don't know how it happened, but that pretty much is like, I try to do things now that aren't drifting just to, because everything I do is drifting. So it's I just need an outlet now, you know? So yeah, it is what it is. I'm sure a lot of the guys get that with RC drifting too. Like, it overwhelms you, you know?
Yeah.
I gotta do something.
It's a lifestyle, right?
There's always stuff going on, and
I don't know if you guys raced RC cars or anything like that.
I did a little bit.
Yeah, that's hard, man. It's hard, dude. It's a whole competitive world that's different from here. And I see a bunch of the guys like E-Money, and then now J-Bar, and all these guys are like getting into it and like winning and like podium and stuff. It's like, yeah, you guys are insane for that, you know? But I guarantee it helps them as competitive drifters for sure. Not necessarily nerves, but
I want to say it's the other way, actually. I think drifting helps the racing.
Oh, 100%. I think it would go both ways. It's got to go both ways. I mean, just the throttle control, I'm assuming. You know, honestly, how can I say I haven't raced? I tried one time. My buddy gave me an all-wheel drive Slash, and we went to an off-road spot, and we had that races all night. And dude, I was trash, like so bad. I was like, okay, all right.
It probably wasn't your fault. It's probably the Slash's fault.
Well, I felt goofy too, because like everyone out there is in rear-wheel drive. And I'm the only guy out there in an all-wheel drive, and they're like, well, you can't compete with this because you're all-wheel. I'm like, dude, I can't even make a solid lap. You guys are lapping me, and you don't want me to compete because I'm all-wheel drive? I'm like, pretty sure that's not a hack, man. Like I just, you know, first day jitters. But we used to have one of our RC guys. He's been hasn't been around in a while. Life, you know, happens, whatever. He was an F1 racer for RC cars, and so his mental was like the best person to pick brains for. Hey, why is this work in shocks? What does this mean? What's the final drive? He knew everything, man. So that guy was like a huge help. And when he left, now I got forced to learn how to tune. You know, I mean, he didn't tune for drifting, but just to learn what things meant, it was just so easy to ask him why this is like this. Because now I tune things, and our cars they function amazing, and all of us drive the same tune, give or take like a millimeter of difference, maybe, on our arms and everything. And so, but why though? Why does it do that? You know, why does it react that way when we corner? Why are we so fast on our exit speed? You know, it's just that kind of stuff. I wish it works well, and we are, but I don't understand.
Yeah, I think a lot of us are in the same boat. We just kind of mess with things until it starts to feel good. And I would appreciate a little being able to learn more of the why behind all that stuff.
It's crazy.
As opposed to, oh, my car's driving good, and then you touch it, and then it goes to absolute garbage.
Yep.
Been there, done that.
I always try to remember, like, you think you want to write it down and keep your tune, and then you never do it, and then you're messed up on track, and you got to replace something at track, and then I should have went to that tune I wrote down.
I swear I've gone through cycles before where it's like, I'm like feeling a certain thing, so I make a certain change, and I go through the whole progress, and I get to the end, and I'm like back to where I started. And I'm like, I've definitely done this exact whole process before, where I felt it's like I just keep repeating the same thing over and over. Yeah,
and so I always watch, like, a lot of the times you guys on this cast. You know, I don't watch a lot of RC podcasts, but you guys, I got hooked into you guys somehow, and I love it. But they always talk about the new guys versus the old guys, and like, it means so much. Like, I've been drifting RC cars since freaking the YD4 era. But that doesn't mean that I'm like it was almost a hindering, because we learned how to drive all-wheel drive, and that was trash. And so when we tried to go rear-wheel drive, you know how many RC cars I got just from all-wheel drive guys converting over? to rear and couldn't do it. And so then I ended up with all these chassis that were awesome, but I didn't know they were. And so for me, it's like the reason there's so many good drivers that are new to the hobby is because the chassis have progressed so far. Like,
Oh yeah, 100%.
you didn't have to go through the struggle bus from turning a Sprint to a rear-wheel drive drift car before Racing made a kit. You know what I mean? Like, we were doing this for so long, and it was like, and what happened to me, and it took me so long to get competitive and understand it, was I would get stuck in my ways with my car and be like,
Yep.
well, I can keep up with anybody, so it doesn't matter, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, well, it could be better. I'm like, nah, nobody could freaking be. No, it's I can keep up with everybody. I don't need to change anything. And it's so funny because I went 8 years in a Sprint that I made everything, put DRB lower arms. I did so much wild stuff to this thing that my first car that was quote unquote real rear-wheel drive, because everyone's like, get a real car. Why are you messing with that Frankenstein? Dude, I drifted competitively 2 years in a YD2S plastic. And that thing was so much better than my 8-year-long struggle bus, man. And I couldn't admit it. Pride, right? I'm like, man, my car is the best, you know? And there's still a couple guys in the hobby right now. I'm not going to name them because I love them to death, but they know who they are. And if they're watching this, they're going to be like, oh, dang it. Because there's guys that are on the struggle bus. And every time I go to comp and like in SoCal, I will give it that clue. Because right now we're doing SoCal this year. But STC, there's a couple guys just working on shit and not driving. And they're such good drivers. And it's
Jose,
like,
we're looking at you.
We don't want to be a dick. It's the straight up fact that, like, in Fresno, the reason we progressed this year and last year is because we want everybody to be with us. We don't want anybody behind. And when someone's behind, one of us guaranteed is going to be like, why? Let's fix that. And spend an hour and a half on someone's car for no reason. So that way the trains are all together. No one's on the struggle bus. And we just I tell people all the time, I will literally put the micrometer, the caliper on my car, and I will give you every bit of tuning, no matter what. Give you pictures, whatever you need. If you want to drive like us, we'll help you. If you don't like our style or don't know us, then maybe don't listen to our tune. But if you've driven with us before and you like the way we drive, then please, we'll help you out. Absolutely. A lot of the time people it's like, oh, I want to drive like, I'm going to be the best. Well, you just took 8 people's different tunes and you've never even driven with the guy. You don't know if they drive good or not. Like, I don't know. You find your drivers that you love and let's say, like, for me and a lot of the guys here, because we don't have a lot of better guys than us, because it's just us. So when we go out of town, we might not have enough time, or they might not talk to us or tell us their tune, but just driving with them allows us to dial in our car to either keep up if we like their style. I won't tune my car to follow you if I'm not that driver. Have I lost comps like that? Of course, and it is what it is, but it's how we drive. We really enjoy it. And, and if what's crazy is people will come over here still and with different tunes and then wonder why they're not driving like us or with us in our trains. I'm like, well, you just tuned your car off of Facebook. And now you're coming over here and you're badass wherever you come here and you're like, well, if you want to drive like us, we can get you there. If you don't, it's going to be hard because our tunes are different. And I notice every time because we drive for Rhino Racing and we see all these Rhino cars and we see people struggle, but we're not well known enough and this and that for them to listen to us. But then they see us drive at the end of the day and they're like, well, why is this? And we're like, we'll give you everything you need to know, buddy, And so I'm very much happy with these Sharks. I always do Frankensteins. This is like the first, all right, a company mattered, this is a good car. So we appreciate it. Again, if this camera was better right now, I posted some pictures actually on the thing, but if I could show you some of the weird stuff that we had to start with, man, it's so funny. I still have my very first Sprint. Literally right now, and it's the rear-wheel drive one I converted with all those old Frankenstein parts. It's I love it. It slaps belts and sounds like someone's getting spanked when you e-brake. I love that thing, But yeah, it's funny, man. Watching you guys and how many, dude, Victros, amazing driver. Chris, great driver. Shane was just on. Trey, oh my gosh, all these guys are so knowledgeable. And, it makes sense. You can see it in their driving, but you'll never see, You know, some of these guys are they think too much about the car and they don't drive as good as they drive better than they tune. And so I don't know, man. A lot of these guys are just like way too technical, I think. So I don't know, man. Yeah, you guys are rad. I'm gonna go to Oregon and come drive with you. Your track looks fun. It's gonna be more fun.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick pretty soon.
What flooring were you guys before? Because it looked like a tile.
It's Armstrong, just white instead of black.
Okay.
Is it guaranteed to be Armstrong?
I mean, it almost has to be, right?
Not always, but
now there's other. I think like our tile, the stuff we have starts with a V, not VCT, but the company is like a V. I have to find a box, but it was like some weird, not like Velclino or it was some weird one. But I mean, we've had such a good time with it, you know. We had another track open up and we put a bunch of tile down. It was 37 foot by 24 or something like that, and it got close like pretty quick for family stuff. Our buddy was paying another guy rent, and then the guys who owned the building weren't getting the money. This dude was just taking it, and so
shit.
RC world, right? We already know. Like these guys, and so it was a non-RC guy helping RC guys out, and so obviously if he's into the hobby, he wouldn't have done it. Not into the hobby, man, whatever you guys are doing, you know. So
yeah. Our tiles, we're not. I think driving wise, we all like our tile quite a bit, but it's just it being white doesn't make the best looking, track. And also, we are excited about matching what a lot of the other tracks in the country are doing.
So what do you guys run right now for tires?
DRP for the most part.
DRP, okay, yeah, all right. We tried it here at ours, and it was just too grippy for us. Like as far as our like we tried Rev Ds, we tried DRPs. They're fine for like the first 10 minutes or whatever, and then and especially being small, we hot lap, like our laps are hot, so our tires get pretty hot quick, and it just ends up being too grippy. But I always tell people like on ours, what makes like when we go to Super G from here, we don't tune anything. None of our guys change anything. Literally no knobs turned. Maybe some of them will do like up the 550 a little bit, but not even, maybe like 5 or 10% in between here and Super G. And we run DRCs here, but DRCs here feel like the Super G tires there on their tile.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's going to be it. You guys will have a great time, man. If you're running DRPs and then you're going to switch to Super G tires when you start running over there.
Yep.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I like the way not messing with the track as far as treating it, to me, always made the track feel better rather than messing with the track.
That's the other main goal, right? Isn't the maintenance goes way down.
Yeah, even for us, it's not the Japanese tile, but it's I've never put anything on it, and the track has been great. Every time I see someone put something on it, or a wax or anything, it's so for a minute and then completely failed and then perfect again. And so I don't know, it's like if you just keep it one way or the other way, it's the best. But if you stop doing one so DGT is amazing because Keith uses that machine, and I don't know how he does it, man, but every time we go down there, it's like a dream. That track is just so fun to us. But the surface, we like the weird elevation. Here, I didn't fill in any of the holes when we put the P-tile because we wanted lumps. We wanted bumps and stuff.
Totally.
Like, it's funny because we all love it, but then like at championships, Super G's big sweeper, when they had that chunk in the middle of the sweeper, I don't know if you guys remember that at all, or like you've seen it. Like, and us slam guys, like it hits and it's like we love it, but then when you're comping, you're like, man, like, it's all great, but like
that's fair.
It's still super good. Like I love the realness of it. So
yeah.
But man, I'm stoked you guys are going to P-tile. We'll have to come up there, man, for sure.
For sure. Definitely.
It's still West Coast. We're not going that far.
Yeah. It's only probably like a 19-hour drive for you guys.
Dude, like Chris, man, I know his job, and he'll say that every time. You're like, man, you travel everywhere. And he'll be like, my job. I'm like, bro, I got tons of people that have jobs everywhere. Do they bring an RC car with them? No. You freaking, like, pretty much your only carry-on and comfort is an RC car in a bag. You're sacrificing so much luxury and comfort of life just to be able to do this hobby. and you're a baller for that. You know, like
Yeah.
I really appreciate that. And it's funny, like it takes so long for some of these guys to open up to you in the hobby, which I know you guys know. Like you'll go see these guys that are like, oh, they're intimidating, like, and then it takes so long, and once they open up, it's like, oh, you know, you guys are rad. Like we've known
Yeah.
tech guys for years, and Alfredo Senior, like he's such a nice guy, like one of the happiest dudes. And me and him talk so much crap together because we're like, he's not a team owner, but he's a team owner. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
he's old pops, but like we love it, man. This is the first year we have 6 guys technically on Driftwell. Last year was the first year we had 4 guys. And so I'm new to it. And to me, it's like, I'm not necessarily saying quantity or quality over quantity. It's the simple fact that manageability. So we have 4 guys because it was manageable. And now we have 6 guys because if one doesn't make it, we still have a presence.
There you go.
So the reality is we still have like 4 guys at the comps every time, but we have a 6-man team. So we're like, you know, trading places almost, you know. But man, these guys with these big teams, you guys are impressive. How do you do it? Like all the struggle, dude.
Well, I mean, just thinking about all of the different liveries that need to be done, right? Like all of the Tech 1 liveries, seeing all those cars, geez.
Yep. I will say as a body painter that they are lucky that they have a great sticker crew and they decal guys, they do good print work. But man, if they didn't have decal guys and if the liveries weren't so prominent nowadays where you can just buy a sticker sheet that makes your car look great. And it's so hard for me being old stubborn old man. Like I make decal liveries and I don't even put them on my cars. I just freaking paint the whole livery on. And that's a problem because all of our
dedication,
bodies, all of our samurai bodies, like you said, I had to do 6 samurais this year, and I'm all, oh my god.
We have for Team PDX, we have 6 getting painted right now, and they're pretty involved in the paint. And it was like I had to tell everyone like this is going to take a long time. This is a lot of work.
Yep. All getting painted at once though, right?
Yeah.
Oh, perfect. That makes it so much easier to deal with, you know?
Yeah.
Because the mindset.
Well, and if you're fading or if you're doing a metallic or anything like opaque or anything, anything pearl, if you don't do them all at the same time, they're gonna be different shades.
Yeah.
You know, so you do a thin layer on every body, and then you do the same thing again, but make sure you try. The guys paint, I understand it's so hard. Try to keep as consistent as possible. You know, I made the mistake 2022 of painting in 110 degrees.
Ooh.
And the paint was drying before it touched the body.
Yeah.
So then it was just like I had this giant layer underneath the bodies. I'm like, hey, but the paint still stuck great, and I was so thankful. You know, like it was impressive, man. And then I love certain brands, but you can't mix them. Like Spastics make some really cool colors and really cool paint, but do not ever mix them with another brand's paint.
Yep.
It's so bad. Like unless you're not I take that back. If you're not taping anything off and you're just painting the body Spastics and you're backing it with another color, great. But if you have to peel tape, Spastics doesn't stick to any other paint. It sticks to bodies, but not paint. And so it peels this giant mess up. Oh my gosh. Yeah, again,
I tried backing Spastics with Tamiya paint, and it bubbled. Yep. It made the Spastics paint bubble.
Yep.
So that was unfortunate. Checkered Past has a question for you, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Can you describe your style? Is he more about being aggressive and on doors, or just relaxed and smooth?
So, always goal for guys here when we're practicing and we're trying to be quote unquote serious. This is all fun to us, and it's like, yeah, we're trying to be serious when we're practicing. We got yelled at a lot at this last round by Joey and everybody during practice telling us not to tandem. It is impossible for us to not be on doors if we're allowed. And it's just the way I've kind of beat it into these guys here. Kind of a bit of a, I mean, I'm not hard about, ask anyone that's actually driven with us. I will touch you pretty much the whole lap. And if I touch you, know that it's not intentional, especially if I don't know you. But if I'm, common thing that happens here, I see a lot in practice, and because Joey and them they're right, qualifying means a lot to a lot of people. it's a show off. I get it. It's rad. I'm not a big fan of qualifying, but I'm also not good at it. So some will say that's why you're not a fan of it. Well, that is true as well. Like, obviously, if I'm not good at it, I'm not going to be the fan of it. But there's other reasons why I'm not a fan of it. But if everyone's practicing this far away, or, you know, obviously, I don't know how big my hands are getting in the camera, and their whole day they're practicing like this, when they're nervous, they're going to be this far away.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're going to gapped. You're going to be so worried you're going to stay farther away. So all of our guys practice literally touching. So that way, when we're nervous, we're only off an inch or two. So all of us drive really quick. And most of our guys, me especially, the last rounds we've lost was because we touched the driver in front. And that's it. And so the more we work on it, the better we are. But we're pretty aggressive. And like, especially down here, we're so tight. I think the widest spot in our track is 3 feet. And we have
that's pretty skinny. I mean, we don't even have spots that go down to 3 feet, I don't think.
Oh man. And then we have one spot which is a straight up like actually I can see if I can get out of the way if my camera will stop linking, but this oh no, you can't see it. Anyway, there's a spot on the track that's got like it's like maybe a 2 and 2.5, and there's 7 cars through it, but we had to utilize and learn the flow. So it's funny, I get off track very, very, very easily because I'm super on the spectrum of ADHD, and it's insane. But to get on the subject of whether or not we're smooth or aggressive, so smooth is always going to be the faster line because you're not choking up and then getting back on throttle and rotating tires, or you're not stabbing and then parking and then getting back on throttle. So if you can not see a correction in your tires and you trust your chassis enough to run in smooth, and that doesn't mean if you're shallow, stay shallow in the angle and don't let your wheels, no, like feed at angle smoothly the best you can. So we'll all say that we're very smooth. Like we're very smooth drivers. We're also super aggressive. And that's because we trust the guys in front of us. And so especially in a new track, in a new environment, what we'll do is we might kind of make some people angry because we'll be so close, like, dude, these guys are dicks. And it's like, man, we really don't want to, we're not, we try not to be. What it is, it's going to take me 3 or 4 laps to learn your flow and your line before I don't hit you anymore. And so if you allow me those 5 laps of being this close, watch, I won't tap you anymore after the 5 laps, but you have to give me the opportunity to learn your flow before you bail off or think that we're being assholes, you know?
Yeah.
Know this, if we're being on your door, we will accept the same back.
Yeah,
None of our guys will yell at you for being pushed around the track, especially because every one of our guys feels bad when we drive a little bit because of like he said, are you aggressive? We're very aggressive, you know, to the point of our flaw in a sense, but we love it, you know. There's no what's the point of drifting solo laps, you know. I get it. Qualify here when we do a monthly comp, we don't qualify. We draw numbers. So I put 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s, 2 4s, 2 5s, 2 6s, and I bring them up to the line like street outlaws. And I say, let me get my 1s, let me get my 2s. And you know what? First couple of times people were upset, kind of like not upset, but like, oh man, I gotta go. Now everybody's ready. Everybody's ready. Give me the best guy, you know. And that's the mentality that we should go into, I think, every time. And if you're nervous or scared about any of these guys, then I mean, it's hard, you know. For me, I get nervous for comping. I don't even know why. I love it to death, but
yeah,
I anybody will watch me in practice, be nervous, like, man, this guy's a dick, and then watch me qualify and be like, dude, this guy sucks at comp. And I'm like, yep, you're right. But then put me in battles, and it's all over.
It's a good topic, or like something to debate about, like, because the way our traditional qualifying system shakes out is it gives all of the benefit, like the higher you qualify, the theoretically the easier your bracket will be, right? So it is interesting to kind of, you know, maybe just doing a random qualifying is a little more, I don't know. I could definitely see like people, you know, if you end up on the bottom half of the bracket most of the time, it's obviously going to be a little bit more fun for you if the qualifying is just random at that point. Because, yeah, I mean, when you're sort of
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, just when you're getting into it, like, you know, you're at your first event, your first round is probably going to be against a top qualifier, and then you're going to be out immediately. So it's like,
Yeah.
that kind of sucks.
No, but that's the thing. If you're worried about that, right? Like in that same sense, like then why are you here comping? Because that top qualifier is going to be there
true.
and waiting for you, right? He'll be there waiting for you.
Yeah. If you want to be the best, you got to beat the best.
I mean, yeah. And then qualifying, it's weird because this last round of round 2, I got double zeros qualifying at championship, you know, round 2. And I'm like, man, my buddy comes up to me, Misha, one of our drivers, like, man, I got 43 or 45 and 49. And I'm like, man, that's consistent. That's actually not bad. And if you added the 2 scores up, your average, as far as like average consistency, is good. Because, and this is no against anybody, but let's say, oh, like Alfredo did really well, got top, you know, up there with top tie, or, you know, really good qualifyings. Or not, was Alfredo? I think it was Alfredo.
I think
it was really great, but
for
score.
top qualifier.
Yeah, and so it was 1 score, right? It was 1 score, and then the other one got a 0, and I'm like, that 1 score was great, but if you average the 2, his is going to be at like a 40 or 42, and you got a 49 and a 45. So your 2 scores averaged would be higher than the highest qualifier because you got 1 score if we were breaking down average. So consistency will win if you're going to qualify. And to go even weirder, the Federation Drift, which they've been doing great, they had 3-place tie for qualifier. And it was insane. Number 1 qualifier, 3 guys, right? The only difference is Joseph Durkee was the only guy to have 2 scores. So out of the top 3 tied qualifiers, if one guy got 2 scores and the other 2 only got 1 good score, who wins, right?
Yeah.
To me,
that tiebreak should definitely go to the person who had the highest second score.
Or scores, period. Yes, highest second score would work with me too. I like that mentality. So that's an interesting thing. So qualifying becomes like this weird nightmare of like, and then it breaks your spirits because like, my buddy's bummed he got 49. I got 2 zeros. You don't think I'm bummed a little bit? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm supposed to be the captain. But then, so I had to battle all the way through, and I battled through. And my first round into top 32 was Shane, top qualifier.
Yeah.
I beat Shane. So then I got double zeros for qualifying, but beat the top qualifier. And somehow, I don't know how, by just being as consistent as I could, being warmed up as I was from obviously battling so many times and staying with my line and finding my markers on track, which is one of the biggest things. If you don't have markers, you're not going to get a consistent drive. I don't even follow markers. No, you do. You just don't realize it. I was able to pull a win. And at the end, the call was that I had a better qualifying line, and therefore I had won that battle. And which is insane to me because the guy with 2 zeros in qualifying beat top qualifier in a battle with a better qualifying line. And so again, because I had that opportunity to warm up, because I learned my spots, there's so many factors of why that was happened. Shane came up cold, right?
Yep.
Mine definitely. People say judging, and sometimes I'll have a yes and no about judging and comping, right? But the other reality is their mind is somewhere else. So is it really a deterrent to let someone comp while they judge? I mean, bro, they're thinking about everything else other than what they should be doing when they get up there.
Yeah. I mean, it's definitely not beneficial to the driving aspect of it if you're also judging.
100%. And yeah, you might have definitely a downfall having 2 judges up there, not 3. Huge. I didn't know they didn't bring a 3rd judge in when someone comped. Like that was new information to me, and it happened right in front of my face, and I didn't know that was the ruling. That was a ruling. But I really appreciate that they're not getting a washed opinion in the end of that, you know?
Yeah.
So, comping's so fun, and I love that it's bringing more people together. People get angry, and I understand, and they love the hobby and it's that passionate that they get upset. I don't know. You watched last year, guys. Everyone got upset. Like people were throwing shit, getting mad, and yelling. I get it, dude. I get it. We love you. Some differently than others, you know. Man, it's exciting.
Yep.
It's definitely a huge difference. One of our buddies, our teammates, is driving NorCal. He's doing a round up there and doing SoCal, and so it's different going from polished again, man. They're still polished up there at Sheldon's.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I enjoyed LA. I haven't comped down there in a long time as far as a regular. So I think you guys were there last time. I seen you guys last year at championships. We just didn't, hang out much or whatever.
Yeah, pretty much. I was running around on Saturday night and Sunday.
Yeah.
I don't compete. I was doing the video interviews. So that's me.
Any reason you don't compete?
I suck at it. Really, it brings
Nerves.
to me it's nerves, and it brings to me a lot more. Well, if I did compete, I wouldn't be able to record any interviews, not happily. So
yeah. Again, just like we were talking about, you have your mind's elsewhere, so hard to drive your best, right?
yeah, exactly, Chris. No, I am not the best driver out of at all. I'm a great planner. I'm a great coordinator. I am not your best driver by any means. But
well, it's cool because I bet you'd make people nervous if you did start comping.
Only in thought. Then once they see me compete and go up against me, they'll probably be like, "Oh, okay."
All right. Well,
Not a big deal.
That's how I am. I get I've always had weird anxiety stuff, which is so insane. I can't ride roller coasters, but I can throw a car at 80-mile-an-hour entries and literally just tap people and not care at all.
That's funny.
But I get mad anxiety, right? And I'll go to Sonoma Winter Jam or whatever, and I'll take some laps in buddies' cars. And after 3 or 4 laps, I'm like, bro, you gotta let me out. I'm gonna get car sick as fuck. I'm getting so car sick, dude. I gotta get out of here. But then I'll send 30 laps, So it's it's insane. But man, when I RC drift, did you put me in a big car? I have zero nerves whatsoever. I'm there to party. I got reggae pumping. We're laughing. It's a joke. We'll play comedy. It doesn't matter. But you put me in an RC car, dude, I am freaking shaking, dude. I'm about to pass out up there. Just literally I'm going to die. Yeah. But it's because I care so much. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, all these guys, they all know us. We love each other. If I lose this comp, they're not going to not be my friend anymore. You know what I mean? We're still good. So you got to think that,
Okay. So if I'm not going in order for your questions, I'm going to try to get to all of them. But I'll try to get to the most relevant one.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's see. So we'll go with dead culture here. Isn't it more fun facing better competition? I mean, yeah.
100%. It makes you push harder. One of our reasons we drive out of town so much to drive is we want people better. We want different. We want better. We need every style we can find. Chase down the guys. And all of us will do funny shit to people that will lose in a way where we felt they gave it. Our crew, we don't push as hard as you can. And so one thing, speaking of that, the rule that's first to lose has completely changed our 7 years of competing, our mentality of lead and chase. Because you have to if I have a bad lead, you have to give me a chance to pressure that lead car into having a worse lead than me. Or else, what's the point of the chase if I already messed up? I already lost, right? Why even have the chase flip me around? First to lose. Well, I was the first to lose. And so I get it. It's trying to make judging easier, and I understand it. But the reality is, severity will make a difference. And if I'm already done, where's my incentive to pressure this guy to fail? I want the guy in front of me. If I go, I'm going to put my car on you the whole lap to make sure you do the same thing, and then we're evened out and let's go. I'm not saying we need one more time it. I'm saying there is a winner in every lap, 100%. And so if there's 2 fails in the lead, then you chases. If there's 2 fails in the chase, then you judge the fucking lead. And if there's one another, proximity, boxes. I mean, it's crazy. I say that, and I've only judged a little bit, so I'm not here hating on rules.
I think most people are only using first to crash in situations where it's a bracket where a lot of people double zeroed in qualifying. Just when it's likely that both leads are going to crash, I think it's totally reasonable to switch to that just to keep the show moving and kind of make it a little bit easier to judge. Like, I'll say it, like, it's easier to judge really bad runs on both sides if you just switch to first to crash. For us on our Tuesday event, we do normal rules the first battle, and if it goes OMT, then we just go straight to first to crash.
Okay. Yeah. And then do you guys, obviously you're not really much doing severity as much, or you are?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, everything is weighed accordingly. I think when people are, in that first battle, we'll just try to,
awesome,
keep it even. Yeah.
For us, like, there's instances where we touch everybody, and so I'll rub a bumper on their rear bumper and pressure them into I'll do a really fast lead, and we've somehow in the last year gained a lot of exit speed, so we put a lot of people on the chase coming out, good or bad, doesn't matter. Good drivers, bad drivers, it's just kind of how we've been noticing these days. And so if we're putting someone on a really fast chase, they're not used to that pace, they'll plow into a wall. But because I rubbed bumpers, or we rubbed bumper, the severity law, and it's just so interesting to me. And so now here at our spot, our severity law, so that way no one has confusion, is simple this. Can you, in real life, which is weird for RC cars, can't judge it off a real car, but here's the thing. Could you compete the rest of the event in real life? Could you switch up and line up right now? Or do you have to go put a competition timeout and pull your engine out and your subframe, and now you're gone for the weekend? And you still won, even though you're severe, So what we do is like bumper movement, obviously, movement of the car. But man, if someone like turtles behind you, and you messed up in front, but there's literally a guy turtled behind you, like there's no way that guy wins. And I've been to a couple comps where that turtle back there won.
Yeah.
And
I see what you're saying.
That guy's going on the trail. He's going on the trail.
Yeah.
He's not going to the next round. He's literally a turtle. But yet, it's an RC car. It's not a turtle. Put it back on the track. You're good to go. He won. Bah, can't do that, man. Can't do that. If I look at your car, I'm like, there's no way you need a tow truck, bro. Like, you need a tow truck.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what I'm thinking is that you'd be for magnetic body parts coming off.
Awesome.
That'd be hilarious.
If your body parts come off, awesome. If your whole body comes off, not awesome. You know what I mean? Not awesome.
Yeah.
I did see someone's cat blow one time, and it popped their body off.
That's crazy.
And it was just a cat. And you heard it around the whole spot, and it literally, bam,
That's cool.
Yeah, it's crazy. The whole room smelled, everything. The whole body popped off.
I don't know what it is about electronic smell, like the magic smoke that comes with within, but man, it's the worst smell ever.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Like, I popped one of my ESCs, I think it was 3 years ago at Expo, and man, I had to deal with that smell all day long. It was bad.
Man.
Gay, coming from more dead culture here, backy and big flips, backy and big flicks, or more conservative angle?
Corner track. What is the straightaway doing prior to that? We are more on the Japanese side of our straights, I'll call it, than American drifting, and some European, as we're not big manji guys. So we will pull angle to run the wall and throw really big flicks, as opposed to, I'm not going to say cheating, I almost did, as opposed to using the weight momentum to throw over into a backy. We'd rather come out of a big sweep, straighten a little, run the wall, and then full throttle into a backy. That's what we would like to see, and that's what we kind of do here, rather than a manji flop over, almost parked it, and now you got to go somewhere. But really, it depends on the corner. I mean, throw backies if it's if you make the line look right and you don't just if I see your backy from an overhead view and it just looks like you didn't even use the track, then I don't even care about the backy. But if you backied it and stayed along that route, that wall, and utilize that whole corner that you're backing in, send it. It looks beautiful. And one reason we don't manji over into backies a lot here is it catches the follow driver up on transition from a manji over to do a really sweet tandem backy and be able for both drivers to come out of it. So if we're out of a sweeper running up a wall, we both shallow up and then send. We can send together as a unit versus a manji flip over. Now, obviously, every track's gonna be different. Do they have a runnable straight? Can you run the wall going up to it? And when I say run the wall, I mean actually like pull the wheels out, counter steer, and throttle up along the wall. Like we call it pull out. We have a strong pull out game here. None of us really have. A couple guys have kids, but most of us don't. You know, so we run. We call it running the wall. So we won't manji. We try to stretch, right? There you go.
Yeah.
That's the easy way to say it. We're stretching the straights to the next zone.
Mm-hmm.
And so there is a brief moment on a straight because we don't want to see everyone slow down and park up. We want to see full bone sends. Yeah. We love that around here, man. So if we're going to back you better commit to it for sure. One of my cars, my LTS, my reverse is pretty much inside. I can e-brake and then reverse. So I'll literally in reverse. And it's corny. It's not something I would recommend. Let's go comp and put your car, but it is a lot of fun to throw it back in reverse and then send it. So yeah,
I've hit reverse accidentally a couple times. It is pretty fun.
it's super awesome. Now we'll put flags on the straight, and so it'll look like we're gonna hit the flag, and then we back off the flag and continue the turn. Again, it's all corny and it's just for fun, but yeah, we don't film enough, you know. Oh, let me take this quick break real quick. Let me go over here to the little boys' room.
Well, while he's doing that, make sure you join the Discord and do some posting in the Roast My Rig channel of the Discord there. If you didn't see it, the link was up above, and I'll post it again here. There you go. And if you are in the Oregon area and competing tomorrow, doors open at 10 a.m., not a minute earlier. So if you try to come in and sneak in with someone, not likely gonna happen.
Yeah, not happening. There will be people there before 10, but unless you're specifically, unless you can't go in there before 10 unless you know you can go in there before 10. So
You know who you are.
and you know you are. If you're
Unless you
not
think
one of
you
those
are.
people, and if you think you are and you're not, you still won't get let in.
At least it's supposed to be good weather tomorrow. Decent weather. It's not last week. Last week was dumb.
What was
It's
wrong
like-
with last week?
It was like 80 degrees.
Yeah.
80 degrees doesn't sound hot, but like once we're coming out of winter and like
Oh,
that's the
come
first
on.
heat wave. Man. Judd can get in. Well, I mean, there's a reason. Okay. While we're at this break, Jeremy,
Yes, sir.
what's your real drift car? Your one-to-one car?
Man, I call it the old man sedan. It's a car that nobody really wants. It's not sought after at the moment unless you're trying to take over intersections. So that's one clue. But no, I drive a 07 G35 sedan. So the S sedan. I learned the hard way that it's a G35 heart and trans with the HR, but all the suspension and everything else is G37 and 370Z. So I went and bought, like when I first got the car, I wanted a C-Time car and I bought a bunch of stuff for a G35. Let me get this angle kit for a G35. Let me get all this stuff and found out it doesn't fit. So yeah, that's how I found out. No, I drift that thing. I've used it for 3 seasons now, and reliable intake, exhaust, angle kit, welded diff, coils. Just pretty basic C-Time car. Started way before RC drifting. Never had RC cars as a kid either. Like this RC drifting was the first RC car I ever had. I never had anything else.
Mhm.
And I only got it because I found out you could drift a toy when I was drifting my big car. And so my first car for drifting, or for really my first car, I call it. I've had way too many, but my first car, my first love was an 8086. So I had an 85 Corolla GTS, bought from San Francisco at like 3 o'clock in the morning. Dude insisted I test drove it. And I'm like, bro, it's 3 in the morning. I want to go home. I got to drive 2.5 hours. I was like, test drive. I'm like, I trust you drive. He's like, test drive it. It was parked on a hill like that in between two cars and cobwebs. I'm like, man. So I had to test drove his car. Wanted it, obviously, bought it, came home. He's like, hey, man, I left my keys in it, bro. I was like, well, you should have made me test drive it, man. So I had to mail his keys back. I told you. But so I drifted with that car event. I learned real quick that drifting was not as easy as it looks, or how everyone's like, oh, hit an e-brake and this and that. First of all, no one took me to my first drift event. I myself drove my car there and hit an e-brake that didn't exist. Didn't know it didn't exist. I just thought I didn't know how e-brakes were supposed to work. But apparently I ripped an e-brake in a car that had 110 horsepower and a non-existing e-brake. And the whole day I just spun out all day. I was like, this is amazing. Almost detoured me away from the whole thing. But I constantly kept thinking, there's no way that people are driving this 1985 car and doing what they're doing, and I'm doing something wrong. I got to figure it out. I had no help. So then 2 years go by, no help, but I beat myself into it, and I was driving 3 times a week, and not street drifting over some, like we went to warehouses and we were pretty off grid. I'm very like, I don't really like dealing with law people and all this. It's crazy. What are you doing getting in trouble out here driving your car? It doesn't make sense to me. So we go out there, we're hitting 80-mile-an-hour entries in a Corolla. I'm learning, beat myself into it. To this day, I drift with no e-brake. I'm not against it. I would love to put one. I'm actually trying to source right now. Trying to source an e-brake setup for the car as a tool. Do I want to drive with an e-brake every day? No. But I might need it. On the sim, I use it. There's a lot of situations I use it on the sim. Do not use it in real life. I do door. I have a lot of door marks. I have my wheels, or all the lips have different color paint on them. I love it. I drive my real car like I already do on an RC car. Am I the best driver? Absolutely not. Do I want to learn? Man, more than anything. But the only way I'm going to learn is by going beyond my means and my limits and adding new tools and doing all this stuff, because people will say, oh man, you're doing great. I'm like, I appreciate it every time. Like, I appreciate you're seeing progress. That's awesome. If I look stagnant throughout the day, then I hope you tell me the same thing too. Like, man, why aren't you doing this? You've been doing the same slap all day. You haven't hit this zone once. Like, tell me that, like, please don't just tell me pat me on the back and send me on the way, and now I'm the best guy ever. So I will not tell you not to drift with an e-brake, but I will try as best as I can to help you understand why learning without it is the truth, And so it's kind of like RC drifting too. If you can get away, your line's going to be smoother without it. That doesn't mean don't use it. You can be very smooth with an e-brake as long as it's strategically placed within transition. And when you get back on throttle is purposeful. You don't just, and then you're twitching and all this. Just make sure you're smooth with it. It's the same thing. E-brake in real car and A-quad here. But one's my, that's what it started. That's why I have a garage like this. That's what took my whole life away. So I didn't get a license until I was 24 years old. And I hitchhiked. I left my folks' spot when I was 16, and I hitchhiked for 9 years. And went to 9 national gatherings, hippie gatherings, rainbow gatherings. That was my life, was traveling around hitchhiking, no shoes and skateboarding and stuff, man. That was it for me. And then one day my buddy put me in a drift car, and then I figured out you can skateboard in a car? No way. Then I was hooked, man. And as corny as it sounds, Initial D was awesome. I'm an anime.
It's not corny. It is not corny.
I'm an anime fan through and through. My first Corolla, first thing I did first weekend is I painted it like the tofu car.
Okay.
Literally within the first weekend. And it was a coupe, but I learned before I bought my Corolla. I didn't learn. I just followed drivers that I liked, which is how I said in the beginning. If I like the way you drive, I will ask you opinions. If I don't take it the wrong way. Like, I don't like the way you drive, but I don't. First Corolla guy was like, you need to drive a coupe because coupes are driver's cars. The cat that I liked that drove the most, the best Corolla influence that I had was like, drive a coupe. They're old man cars. What do they call them? Mature 8.6 owners drive coupes, and immature 8.6 owners drive hatches. That's how he told it to me. You know, he's like, you know, you're fanboying out on the hatch, and he's like, well, really, ratios and this and that. I don't know what the heck you know, it's so crazy. Like, but yeah, so I'm a coupe guy, and I have a Corolla out front right now that's a roller that I don't know why I got it. This is my number 14th Corolla, and it's a roller. And in this day and age, I always said I'll never buy them because they're too expensive now. It's kind of killed it for me, you know.
Yeah.
It's now almost a Ferrari, right? Like, oh, those are cool. It's like a poster car. Like, that's great. Like, to have a perfect 11 like baller coupe, you know, it's like, geez, like, better work hard for it, you know. Like, and it's like, man, I'd rather just have a track for everybody to drive rather than a car for me to drive. So I keep this place open. I'll run it. Let's do this. Let's love this. And I'll eat driving an old man sedan. The cool part is no one cares about the G35. It doesn't get a lot of looks and whatever. It's perfect for me. When we drive, it's a whole other monster. You know, it's a driver's car. I always tell them, don't mess with the Zohan, right? It's got Sony guts. So I tell you, this car, Sony guts. Sony guts. You know, it might say Onkyo on it, but it's got Sony guts, dude. You know?
Wow,
So,
that's a take back.
Yeah.
The Zohan.
Yeah, it's funny. Want to drive more. Normally, my big car I'm driving once a month, which pretty much comping RC cars is once a month. But now with SoCal and NorCal, we're comping 3 times a month, dude. We got Federation, NorCal, SoCal. It's getting a little hard, you know. And they just some new events are coming up in our area for 1-1 scale. And then one of my buddies is building a 1-1 track 30 minutes away from me.
Oh, geez.
And it's all rally right now. So he's making tracks, but they're all dirt.
Mm-hmm.
And he was charging $2.50 a lap, $2.50 a lap. Any car you want to bring, come down.
That's nice.
And then tomorrow he's doing an event out there that's free. It's a free track day. Just bring your car up.
That's
Damn.
cool.
10 to 1 p.m., dude. 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Yeah.
That's cool
Bring
as
your
hell.
car, send it. It gets wild out there.
I would have killed for a place like that back in the day. Just
you know, and I 100% support them. What they're doing. These guys are. I'm not a dirt guy, so I'm not driving. You know what I mean? I know they're gonna pave it eventually, so I'll constantly support. Like, I want a concrete track, and I don't own a rally car. I'm not gonna take my G out and rally car that thing. You know what I mean? So
try it. Give it a shot.
oh man, yeah, it's not set up like that. Yeah, definitely. The alignment on that car and the height isn't that bad. I don't slam my cars. There's no. Yeah, I don't need to slam it, man. I want functional suspension. I like a little bit softer suspension, so my car moves when I want it to, like on throttle and on brake. It'll dip and dive, you know, kind of take the weight off where I need it and put the weight when I do need it. And I don't run a stiff boat, man.
There's a lot of guys in our crew that are going to be very upset to hear that, but it's okay. I'm kind of with you.
The functional suspension part?
Yeah.
On big cars or little cars?
Real
I don't
cars.
know. Yeah, 1-to-1.
Yeah, 1-1. I love it. That's one of the reasons I enjoy watching the RTR team in Formula Drift is watching the cars move as they do. And because the way they put the power down and watching it squat on throttle and watching it lift off and do that 3-wheel motion and just actually utilizing the weight, it makes sense to me. Now, S13s, I don't know, different things. My car is 3,500 pounds. It's got 300 horsepower and it's long. So it helps me when I'm on throttle and then I get off and I do a lot of, obviously no e-brake. So I do a lot of footwork. I'm way more footwork oriented than anything. So when I brake hard, my front end dives and my ass comes up, so it makes it very easy for me to transition. Or not very easy, easier for me to transition. You know what I mean? Versus being so weighted. You know what I mean? I don't know. I've always liked that. Everyone has their own style. And again, I come from like a Corolla life for many years. After the Corolla, I went from there to a Miata. Because it's like a Corolla with independent rear suspension. I was able to pull a sway bar off and gain hella grip just from doing independent rear end stuff, which I never had the opportunity to do with my solid axle car. You know, love Corollas, go-karts, amazing. Would I go back to drifting competitively or anything like that in a Corolla? Absolutely not. Would I have fun ripping a Corolla at 9,000 RPM with the boys? Absolutely. But my car now is more of a tool. It's more of a tool than anything else. The Corolla was like a tool and a hobby and a showpiece and like a bragging right. The G is ugly. No one cares. It's a tool. It's literally it's the tool I park out front. I don't go to car shows with it. No one cares about it. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Until it's knocking on your door, then people are like, "Wow, that's cool. You know, great. You know," and it's cool. That's when my favorite time is. You know, and it's funny because RC cars is very different because we're flashy everywhere. Like I like everything bright and look at me. You know, witness me, man. Spray paint chrome all over everything and just send it. You know, but yeah, I don't know. One was the heart for me for sure. That was definitely, it still is. If I could afford as much, but I say that it's not real. Like it's not expensive to do it the way I do it now, or some of our buddies do it. We're lucky enough to have the expense that we have now. I don't have to tow. I'm driving. My gas mileage isn't. I don't have a bunch of horsepower, so I'm not wasting gas. I'm not. I do run 265s, 245, 265 in the rear, which is big, but I like grip and I air them down. And I like to be as quick as I can because I'm 300 horsepower. Everyone's just destroying things, you know.
Mm-hmm.
They're ripping nowadays. People S13, Jay-Z everywhere. You already know. You guys see it. It's crazy. That's why I can't wait to drive with some of the NorCal guys. I used to drive with Carl from Rolling Garage when I had a Corolla, or back in my Corolla days. So we used to sell each other freaking car parts. And then he opens an RC shop. I didn't even know RC drifted. What the heck, dude? You RC drift, dude? Did we just become best friends? Yeah. No,
Speaking of best friends.
Oh, I saw that over here. Yeah, checkered pass over here. Yeah. I love it,
He's
man.
one of the 8-6 guys in our area.
That's good, man. Sweet. Yeah, I hope you guys could bring a team down here. One day we'll go up there for sure. But we're all West Coast. We really don't have an excuse other than everything else in life. But come on, man.
Yeah, we're all anxious to do a lot more traveling, so it'll happen
For sure. I'm so envious of all these guys that travel so much. I'm like,
Yeah.
dude, how are you doing this?
Yeah, I know.
Miko's at the Elite Drift Shop
He's
over
in
in
Quebec right now. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, man. You guys are so lucky. Hey, I will say this, like those guys don't have a lot of time driving with them, which I 100% regret after driving with them a little bit at GDT after hours. I had no idea like these guys their mentality of the Elite Drift Shop, I don't know how many team members they brought, like 3-man team or whatever it was just like really good to see. Like you could tell like it was an established team, regardless if there was 2 or 3 guys. Like they were impressive for what they were and super nice. But it was just like to talk to them a little bit afterwards, their organization and the way they go about how they do their team and stuff is just, man, it's a good thing to kind of like look up to, you know. And they're quiet though, so it's like you don't get to talk to them all much, you know, until you talk to them, then they're on it, you know. But like, you know, it's funny to watch those guys do what they do. It was pretty impressive, man. And I can understand why Miko is going up there to like, you know, he gets at its training. I mean, like, I'm sure he would say it too, man. It's definitely training for him, you know. He's a great driver. We're always progressing. The sport's always progressing, and as long as you're trying to push for that, we're gonna keep doing it, you know.
Totally.
Yeah. You guys have some bangers up there too, man. We gotta drive for sure, man. You'll be down at championships this year, right?
Oh yeah, big
Could
time.
be.
Cool.
I think we're gonna have quite a few people down there.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome, man.
Yeah, I think we're pretty much doubling how many people were from Oregon from last year. I think pretty close to it.
From Oregon, not necessarily on the team, just you'll bring a bunch of guys that come out with you, right?
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Perfect. Yeah, because we have like a bunch of bodies that we painted that are all become the Central Valley theme. And it's not that we're a team, but we're all from the area.
Yeah.
So we all took and did outside paint jobs on a bunch of old bodies. So that way no one had to like go buy a body or Gotti or anything, and just we all painted outside bodies, put a sticker livery on it, and sent it. We call that the Central Valley body. So
nice.
It'd be cool. You guys get something together. We'll see how many of you Oregon guys go out there, man.
Yeah.
That's sick. Yeah, that's crazy. I can't believe that. How many spots do you guys have up there to drive? Just PDX?
Just PDX.
It's
There
growing.
is one newer track that just opened up recently, but I haven't
So
even been there yet.
yeah, so that's the Hideout, which actually, well, I'll bring it up later.
Okay.
Hideout is actually at one of the hobby towns, so it's interesting that we brought up Hobby Town earlier and kind of not being for it. Our hobby towns up here are starting to open up to it by like quite a bit.
Yeah, I've noticed that, man.
hmm And then there's a new track. Well, a new track opening down in Roseburg. It's called Twisted Steel RC, and Eric is the owner of it, and he's hoping to do some pretty big things with it. So
Yeah. I think they just put in their layout like last weekend or something.
yesterday.
Or no, yesterday. Yeah.
Yesterday.
Awesome.
Yeah, so I was gonna go head down, but I asked him, and he already had the help that he needed. It's 2-hour drive, hour and 45-minute drive for me, which means it's a 2-hour and 45-minute drive for you guys.
Yeah.
From PDX area.
Yeah.
Jeez. So where at in Oregon are you guys located? The PDX is where?
In
Portland.
Like
Portland.
north.
Okay.
It's northwest
All right.
Oregon, basically.
All right. And then the other track was north or south?
Further south.
South. Okay.
Well, Hideout is south.
Oh
No.
yeah,
new
no.
one.
Hideout
The new one.
is the new
Oh,
one. Yeah,
is Roseburg
Roseburg,
is
yeah.
way south.
Okay. Yeah. Roseburg. All right. It's
So
funny, we used to
basically,
skate. Oh yeah, we used to skate up and down Oregon. So we used to go to all these spots just for like skate trips. Like it's when we end up in Westland and all these crazy places just
Yep.
skating. Yeah. And now I'm doing it for RC cars. It's very interesting.
yeah, like I've said before, it seems like traveling this year is definitely more prevalent for a lot of people, and
Yeah.
it's either the fact that it just started or it's the fact that we haven't been paying attention to it. And I think it just started for like everyone traveling. So let's get back to RC here.
Yeah, let's do that. Let's do that. Let's do that.
So Jose is asking, what's your choice of the electronics, and do you prefer lighter tunes or hotter tunes? Let's focus on electronics first.
Yeah. Personally, I originally built the electronic stuff and got used to electronics I did because of financially. Just what financially fit what I was running into. And so, for the longest time, I would just run Spectrum and, pretty much the most basic stuff I can, Savix and Spectrum, and just keep going. I did that for years. Now I run 550 in my main comp car. I won Yokomo, what is it, the SPO3 or whatever, the aluminum servo.
Mhm.
And then I run an AccuVance motor. One of my cars is 10.5, one of them is 13.5. And I mean, obviously, I'll keep them both with me so I can switch them if I need to, and just keep my bullet plugs are the same. Everything's the same car setup. But I run Hobbywing ESC. And sometimes I'll run an Onosiki cap. Sometimes I'll run the stock cap. I don't either I don't know enough about AccuVance to tune it the way I like driving, because it's just beyond me. But I have always been a fan of the Hobbywing stuff. That stupid DX or XD 10, right? Pro or whatever it is.
Mhm.
And we run it not really too aggressively. We do have fans on a couple of our cars. Not all of them have fans, so we're not obviously like can tuning. We leave our can tuning stock. I'm not turning timing crazy. And but yeah, we all run 4 p.m. controllers. One guy here has a 10, and that's it. One single dude, and he has a 10 on a car that it's a plastic YD2.
Hell yeah.
And the best thing about his whole car literally is
The radio.
control. Yeah.
It's like,
that's it.
at the time, you could buy two chassis for less than one radio.
100%. Yeah. And so we're, again, a couple of our guys run full AccuVance setups, and we tune them. The craziest part is 2 of our teammates just switched back over from AccuVance to Hobbywing. Pulled the ESC, pulled the S-Bus, pulled the 17 caps that had to come off that thing, and they're running back to Hobby Wing with the OEM cap, and they're raging, and they feel comfortable. Their throttle is where they need it to be. I'm able to kind of dial those a lot better. Again, it's because I don't know enough about the AccuVan stuff. I'm not going to say that they're not amazing. Obviously, a lot of people run them. I hate wiring. I hate looking at it. I hate seeing a bunch of wires stuck together and a cap on a cap on a cap on a cap on a cap is like, I don't understand it because I've never been next to somebody in a car that looks smoother or does anything more than mine. You know, I feel like we're all flowing. If I was twitching the whole time and this dude's smooth, then I'd be like, oh yeah, I need to change this. Never happened. Our rear tune allows us not to be aggressive on electronics. So it's nice and soft, but it's firm. I don't know. We have a lot of exit speed. So yeah, most of our stuff it's not really that aggressive. I think I run, if I had to say like 5,000, we start our boost and we ended at like 55,000, but we never use that much. We're not on throttle as much. We use it to transition. That's about it. I bet you one of our other guys would probably be more able to like, oh, I run this and this. Not too depth in it, you know. I would 100% pull a Hobby Wing programmer out and send pictures to how we run if you ever want to know. But I'd prefer you drove with me before you asked me any of that stuff. So if you like the way we drive, I'm more than willing forever. Will I point my car out and tell you you're doing it wrong? Oh, I can't do that, man. I can't do that. Again, if you want to drive like we drive, man, bring it up, you know. Oh, this guy's asking my comp car setup. My setup for the comp car is just a 550 regular Yokomo servo, and yeah, just the same thing. AccuVan's motor with a Hobby Wing ESC stock cap. I think I'm running stock cap. Let me double check myself.
Is it a fledge or is it an agile?
Ooh,
it's a fledge. It's a fledge.
It's a fledge. Yeah. The fan never worked from day one.
That's okay.
The back can fan.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I just run this fan I made this battery setup. But yeah, I still have stock cap on this thing. I run my Beck low, probably like 5 or like
6
I run
volts.
Yeah, well actually I run it lower.
Oh wow.
I turn my Beck down. Yeah. All of us do because for us it took away some of our servo jitters and stuff on throttle. So if you're full throttle, it's not just over and switching to make the servo a little bit. So a couple of the guys, when the DDSs first came out, everyone was having shaking issues. I don't know if you guys, I'm sure you guys, yeah, so everyone just jitter. So one guy did a nice write-up on it, and he was talking about Beck voltages and stuff like that. And so we just kind of turned ours down, got rid of a lot of the jitters. We don't use enough just crazy boost and to need 6 volts or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe I don't know what it does. I don't know. Never had to mess with it. I just know that when I lowered it, my car it was smoother. There you go. I lowered it, it was smoother for our driving style. Again, it's like, I don't want to be the guy to tell people how to tune stuff. I will say, if you have a problem driving your car, I can help you based off what we have, how we drive. It drives smooth for us. You know, like that's one thing I can say. We get a lot of guys with Sharks that are like, oh man, I'm having such a hard time tuning. I'm like, well, ride height dictates Sharks angle in the front if you're running IFS.
Yep.
Then if you start bouncing around, your follow wheel will have more angle than your lead wheel with the IFS, unless you perma-set your angle to the height you're going to be at driving on the track. And so, yeah, we're all pretty picky with that kind of stuff, I guess. But electronics, not so much, man. We don't like over-rotating our tires. So. Hey,
so on your 550 in use with your SP03, are you running any damper, like the very first setting?
Yeah. I think I run 20 or 15.
Okay, so pretty high.
Yeah. I don't run. Is that a lot?
Well, okay. So to take it back, basically, whenever when we first started tuning with the 550, and when I was watching all the Japanese videos, I was seeing that they were saying you need to run that damper at 0, right? Just because there's already so much dampening built into the servo, right? Because they're programmable.
You know, that's the other thing. I took my program. I programmed our servo down to 20.
Okay.
On the anti-shake.
Okay, so you took it down by quite a bit.
It was 68 on the anti-shake factory, and so we bring that to 20, and then we run our damper at 20 on the servo.
There you go.
On the gyro, yes.
Yeah, because I'm recently experimenting with that now, like for RSST and SPO2 servos, and it's definitely making my car a lot better. It's just I have to approach the servo programming quite a bit differently.
Yes, 100%. I run my power down. I think my power on my servo is down to like 60. The anti-shake's 20, and then torque is like super low too, because the DDS mellow everything.
Hold on. We're not getting you, Jeremy. It's like the internet was meant to not have us know what the DDSS was for.
They didn't want us to know the secrets. The FBI.
Hold on. Can you hear me still?
Yeah, we got you.
Oh, okay, perfect. All right. So am I back, or is it?
You're back now.
Oh, I'm looking at the online thing, and yeah, I can see I'm playing Minecraft, guys. Don't worry about it. This is just a skin. It's a filter that we use here in Fresno. But okay, so yeah, the DDS stuff, it doesn't like a lot of torque because of all that. You know, it's so loose that you start adding torque to it too. Can you still hear me?
Yep, we're still here.
All right, cool. Yep. So caster, I'm looking at the. I got the chat up. So caster, camber, toe settings, etc. If you can get a proper alignment with good traction on your lead wheel, we don't run full track on the follow wheel. We run full track on the front on our lead wheel. So we have a little bit of, you know, at full lock, our lead wheel is flat. But if we can achieve that without having toe out, then that's the better. A lot of our guys, if we have a tiny bit of toe out, we're pretty true going forward. Pictures with my camera and stuff don't look like that because it'll like fisheye and kind of like bubble it out. But
wide angle.
We're pretty true on our toe. Camber, I don't even have a gauge in here, I don't think. But we don't run super aggressive, but we don't melt. Like I said, enough to keep our lead wheel flat. Caster, we run our upper arms, we go pretty forward. So
that would make sense for your flat patch too.
Yes, not all the way, but we're pretty forward. And then the same with our lower arms. If you're running a final form, we're running our biggest spacers on the upper arms, and we're running the spring in the front of the arm and the lower arm, and a really thin washer in the back, like thinner than the factory one. So yeah, we're pretty castered, but not ridiculous. You know, it's not. I don't like going flat with the lead and follow wheel, because then it's like it's pop effect. Like it'll just spin easier to me. It'll slide the car instead of grip it into where it needs to go.
Right.
Yeah. That's pretty much toe caster and stuff. The rear, I guess, is a little different from most.
Well, and just keep in mind we're on DRCs right now. Yeah.
Yep. Always. Yeah. At our town, we're in DRCs, and then when we go anywhere else, we just run their tires, but we don't change the setup unless the rear. Are we gone? Am I gone again? Oh no.
No, you're still here.
All right. I'm gone. The rear, we will have to adjust according to tires.
Mm-hmm.
Because we kind of run like that camber gain setup. Yeah. You know? And then
so you're low on the inside camber link and high on the outside?
We're lowest and highest. Yep. Lowest and highest. That's kind of how we've all run. Believe all of our guys are on LTS springs in the rear.
Oh geez.
On big boys. Yep. All of us. Every one of the guys here. Again, we all run high battery sharks and really far back high battery sharks.
Then it makes sense.
That and again, without doing a lot of manji stuff, we still see the weight shift. So even though we're straightening up, not straightening up, but we're coming up fast up the straights instead of manji straights, we're still able to toss the weight in, which is really cool. So that's one thing we've been really working on, is not having to throw the weight around to use the weight. Because to me, that defeats the purpose. Then you just have to be a floppy, weird, looking thing on the track all day, and that's not it. So
That's the perfect description of my high CG Miata.
Yeah.
A floppy,
very floppy.
It almost chucks the weight too much. Is kind of what you're saying. Yeah.
Yep.
What are you running a mini for the Miata?
Yeah. So it's the
wheelbase.
Wrap Up Next M Concept chassis. So 225 mil, which is actually what we based off.
Yeah.
The size for our mini MC1s, basically. But
That's
yeah,
sweet.
It looks absolutely ridiculous because it's too much high weight and too much funk. Like, it looks ridiculous.
It's like a novelty car though. It's not like a mean car or anything.
Yeah.
Oh, no, it is funny.
I'm not sure how we got it to work. Again.
Now we lost you.
We lost him again.
He'll come back. Probably. Jake is a high battery shark guy too. Well, while we're waiting for him to come back. Wait, actually, let me message him. Can you hear my keyboard clacking?
Just a little bit.
And we lost him.
Fully lost him.
He'll come back.
There he is.
Oh
and
my
he's back.
gosh. So our building, I will say that right now, our building is attached to a skate shop, a tattoo shop, and obviously my shop. And we all share the internet. We all share the whole building. And
that's tough.
on occasion, we get this big of, you're not there anymore. So yeah, all right. I'll try to. I think everyone is officially gone from the facility, so we'll see if it happens again. But yeah, internet.
Yeah, you're experiencing my constant struggle of streaming at PDX.
Okay, yeah. I've never gotten a chance to stream here, just because it looks like this. How are you gonna have cars like this?
I guess back to it. Your rear camber setting. Where do we know? Like,
it depends. It varies on tire. It varies on tire.
Right.
For sure. So, I literally, all of us, we have a board specifically in the building that's flat for like just 100% flat, and it's at a high level, so where you can just stand up and see light under the tires. And so we adjust to where our squat makes the tires flat, you know?
Gotcha.
Obviously we're not squatting, pushing the car all the way down to the ground to see if it's flat, but we're giving it what we think would be on squat with throttle.
So I guess that leads me into the question of your theory or your thoughts on traction for our tires, right? So there are some of us that believe kind of like how a knife edge works. If you're rolled over onto that shoulder, so giving it like 6 degrees of camber, right? It's giving you a little bit more pressure right on that point, giving you more forward traction. But if you're saying that we're squatting and that's where you're sitting flat at, do you believe that flat patch is the what is giving you more forward traction?
In a straightaway, it could only, depending on how worn in your tires are. Ours is more so when you lean in onto a big sweeper, and so when the weight's over on your forward wheels, having all of the traction, like the tire, usable throttle is our hunt. That's the easiest way for me to say it.
Right.
Usable throttle. So instead of just banging turbo and over rotating tires, we want to be able to grip in. And when it's only riding on a small portion of the tire or a piece of hard plastic, you're gonna it's more chance to open, it's not as smooth. So we'll go to a comp and watch the line. If it's wearing in the very center, like we're perfectly aligned in the rear, then we'll change it, because we know we're never going to wear that down flat for the whole comp. It's going to end up being, just the center, a little bit of traction. So we'll actually camber to the most tread patch there is on there.
Okay.
So that way, yeah. And then most of our speed is mid to exit. So we can be on, we have a lot of usable throttle. Again, I think that's why we're fast on exit speed, is because we're able to not over rotate, and then we run 4 soft diff. So CLSDs with 4 soft. So again, the diff can open and close easily, because on a slipperier surface, an open diff is faster. Because you're not over rotating a tires as easy, it's that simple. So right. Yeah, and then it's crazy for us too. We've noticed lately people are like, oh, worn in DRCs are faster. Like, oh, blah, blah. Actually, it's a reverse for us. With our car setups, a worn in DRC is slower because they're scratched up. They don't get any grip anymore.
Yep.
But a nice fresh set of DRCs on us, like no one here will complain about putting fresh tires on. Oh, I just put this set on. Like, no, yeah. We can tell, bro, because you're freaking ignoring us, bro.
Yeah. It's a big thing I've been learning the last couple of weeks is when the track is very well prepped, then the wear is very smooth and consistent and the wheel stays flat. But when the track's a little bit dirty, then as soon as that whole wheel gets scratched up, that wheel or that tire is so slow then, because it's like all the little scratches is just not allowing anything to touch the ground.
Exactly.
It kills you.
That's it for sure, man. That's 100% what happens, man. And it's like, I'd prefer a nice brand new tire anyways. And then every once in a while you'll pick something up and you'll hear it click and then you think your car's broken,
Yeah.
Yeah.
On your CLSD, what type of grease did you use to put inside?
So I put anti-wear grease.
Okay.
And that's it. And I didn't fill it up. I just build my diff with one side of the case off, and I take a toothpick, put some grease on it, stub it into the bottom while holding it down, lift it up, do it in all 4 corners, turn it, make sure it's just got fluid everywhere, and then close the case up, man. Yeah, I'm just trying not to let the gears heat or wear premature. That's it. They don't need a lot of fluid. I like the diff to work. And then I also don't like it too stiff with too many shims and too much rubber, which a lot of guys will be like, oh, it's got loose here in the cup of the diff. I'm like, yeah, but that loose cup doesn't necessarily transfer over to the wheel on this side. It's just going to be on that, your hub and your wheel stays pretty solid with your lower arm and all your bushings. So worrying about a little bit of arm in the diff, you guys know if you built the CLSDs, like sometimes you'll build them and you're like, that thing don't wiggle, the output shafts don't wiggle at all. And then sometimes you build them and those things are just floppy little things. So you got to find the happy medium.
Yep. There is a reason why they include so many shims, you guys.
Yeah. But hey, you don't have to use them all.
No.
They're like, where do all these go? I have all these extra parts. Yeah, man. Oh, you put them all in there, man, for sure.
Right. See, RC. Go ahead. No,
I will say that some of the kits don't come with some kits, which we all know as of right now, quality control.
Yep.
In some cases with Rhino is like in the beginning of the first chassis, where it wasn't a final form, but prior to the final forms, a couple things come out and they switched the quality control staff over, fixed everything. Everyone loves the Rhinos. No one says nothing about quality control now, So there is occasional diffs that don't come with certain shims. And so, the outcup ones, there's like a bigger shim size that doesn't come in some of the packages. I'm sure you guys have gotten that too. It's like it's the shim that fits over the output shaft. It's really wide. Like, yeah. So sometimes you don't get those, but yeah. I mean, it doesn't have to be super snug. I will say that if you ever build a diff, make sure you tighten the screws for the caps, because I don't know if you guys have had anybody completely destroy a transmission with the screws from a diff. Okay, good.
We have, unfortunately.
Yeah. The first one I saw was actually a plastic diff, and that one was gnarly because it like almost wore through the whole casing.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, it was aggressive. Hey, those gears held together, man. I'm surprised that inside of those idler gears did not break.
Right.
It must have got hot, dude. It must have got really hot. So
RC Supremacy wants us to talk about why the scene got away from anti-LCG and rear motor. Or is that altogether anti-LCG RR? I think it's one or the other.
Huh. Well, I don't know, man. it's so weird to watch it go because we've gone away from so many things, but then here we are running belt trans again, and then we're all going back anyways. So I think so. Is he asking why we went away from low center of gravity?
I think so. Yeah.
Because it says away from
Anti. Yeah, so I think it might be deriving from like, I mean, it could be a little bit more clarification. RC supremacy would be helpful. But I know that like growing up in this whole rear wheel drive event, right? There was a time where like FXX and like anything front motor, right? We were trying to figure out where to put our batteries because we didn't know what to do because they were slow. So
always high.
Right, because they were always high. I have a battery mount that fits right on top of where my, like, in between the two top rails, right?
Yep.
And it was a high battery, but at the same time, I didn't know what to do with it. I didn't know what to tune for it. Like, we were talking about going in cycles for tuning earlier. Like, I felt like with my FXX, I had the suspension that I have now, but I had no idea what to do with it back then. So it was completely useless for me.
Yeah. The FFX was my first rear wheel drive chassis that was like, I didn't comp with it. It just was the first one that was OEM rear wheel drive and check it out. But again, coming from like the 1-1 scale and fanboying, I was like, whoa, front motor rear wheel drive. What's up, FR? You know? And then you end up like cutting so much of the front bulkhead away to try to get angle that doesn't exist. And, you know, you can do this, but you couldn't change the caster properly. And it's like, I love the FFX chassis, and there's guys out there ripping those things, and the beast mode ones are awesome. Like, they're so cool. Do I think they're as fast and as nimble as what we have? I mean, yeah, you can make it. Maybe the drivers that, you know, drivers can dial in a car and be as fast as they can be, you know, but like something about all the weight over the rear and a nice light shock or like a lightweight and watching movement is just something. Well, you know, I love that. I don't know that for me, I've never been a low center of gravity guy. I've always wanted high. All my cars since the beginning were high. When I converted my Sprint to rear wheel drive, I put a battery way up high because I even made my own knuckles for the Sprint. I took an old Unosiki knuckle and bent a piece of steel into a L or a C and bolted it on the top and matched it off a D-like knuckle because I wanted that height. And so all of my chassis back then were all off of D-like stuff because to me, they were the ones doing rear-wheel drive drifting before most people. Even though it was all-wheel drive and counter steer and all this, they'll say about the D-likes. But man, I still watch D-like videos every day. Hitoshi Yoshihara on Facebook is one of the most active pages for D-like. And those guys are on a different level. They've always sent weight. They've always load transferred. They've always been high center gravity and using forward momentum with keeping your diff in the front. And all of that to me was like, we should go back that way. But even those guys weren't low center. They made a 4-link in the back. They were all about using, you know, just the most grip out of the rear they could. It's so hard, right? Like, yeah, I don't know. And rear motors, I never got into rear motors. I play with some, I have a D5. I forgot. I guess I have a D5. I have a rear motor. You know, they're awesome. If you like to hear your gear grind on the wall when you hit it, it's pretty nice.
I hated rear motor. It didn't feel right.
And so if you do it right, and let's say you went back to rear motor now with the camber gain and the anti-roll, like when you lean, you keep your tires. So our cars do that too. Like on full lean, our tires don't lean with the car. Our tires stay flat when the chassis is leaned all the way over.
Yeah. Which
is why we are pretty grippy as well, because we're throwing all our weight, but we're keeping our tires down, you know? But if you did that with a rear motor now, because we have a couple that still drive rear motor, and I did do a polished version of a YD2S that had the Racing rear motor. Have you guys ever seen the Racing rear trans?
Yeah.
For a YD2?
Mm-hmm.
And it has the quick diff that comes out of the front of the trans. I don't know if you guys have seen that or not.
Oh, no. But I've only seen the front mid or rear mid aluminum. Not the rear.
Yeah, this thing they made, and I found it somewhere. I think I got it on Alibaba, but it's a Racing trans for a YD2 that was rear motor but full aluminum. And so I polished it, and then there's kind of like the Rhinos, how the back diff case comes out and you can pull the diff.
Yeah.
Racing had one, but it came out forward of the trans, so you had to pull it out like kind of where the battery was. But that trans was really fun, and the way we built that was we loosened the shocks up so much, and we kind of mid-weighted it, so it was like 80-30 instead of, or I'm sorry, not 80-30, the opposite way. But it was like 40 weight up front, like 60-40. But it handles really good. It's fast. That's the one thing I will say. It does have a little bit of a problem sometimes while on throttle wanting to break out. So it like fights transitions, rear motor stuff. You either it goes all the way around every turn, or it's really grippy. And so his was kind of like a more grippy side, but almost perfect, man. We love that thing. But again, I like that no one's just, forcing rear motors on everybody right now.
Right.
And I don't know, rear motor versus just above the trans motor, right? Like something about putting all the weight over the diff, like over the axles, is where it's actually making a difference. So remember when we used to run rear batteries, guys?
Yes.
Like, you guys did the Sakura mounts with the big old giant battery that laid, and like you literally put your battery flat.
Yep. D4 came with it, you guys.
Yeah, like I get it. Put more weight over the rear. That's not the only thing making you fast, right? Like, I don't know how you guys are up there, but like we'll go down and see comp. Like, did you watch the scales last year at championships? Dude, I'm watching guys like barely make weight, right?
Mm-hmm.
And killing. Like, they're great drivers. Their cars are fast. They're doing it. And then I watch guys that are like 900 total grams, not like 1,500 like our whole chassis is 900. Like Bianchi's or whatever it was. I don't know, but when I see a number where the rear is 700, some crazy, and those guys are rippers, and they're just as fast as the guys that are pushing the weight limits on the rear. So I'm like, how are you guys doing this, being so light and being so fast, when all the heavy guys, they think the heavy is faster? It's like,
I wish I had a better understanding of all that stuff, because I think, for one, the fact that we're not using a pneumatic tire, like we have a hard plastic tire, changes like so much about what about grip and stuff. But two, there's definitely like I've said this before in the podcast, but if you go look at any other competitive motorsport series in the world, there's nobody trying to make their cars heavier. It's just not a thing. So like, it does totally still make a lot of sense to me that lighter car better, because it's like, it's less force required to get it moving in the first place. But a lot of people like a heavier car. I mean, obviously there's a lot of feel that goes into it.
Yep.
And then I was kind of going back to the high CG thing, and Jake, I kind of agree with Jake a lot with what he said there. It's just trying to find more grip. And I think it's really like we're dealing with such a low friction environment. Like the amount of friction between our tires and our track surfaces is orders of magnitude lower than what you would typically have in a 1-to-1 car. So it's just people are trying to do as much as they can to get a little bit more of a 1-to-1 style weight transfer, amount, right? So
yeah. I think like a lot of that's going to have to do with like what you're running in your shock weights and how fast your car dampers. Because if you're a light car that can utilize the shocks and actually squat your car and hold it, then yeah, you're going to be ripping.
Yeah.
Problem, most people nowadays are running heavier cars with loose shocks or loose springs. They're running 50 weight with the loose, tight, softest thing you can run. So that way the car squats and is able to put that traction down. But I mean, a light car that can actually hold it. Like I like the Tim's tapered pistons, simply because I'm able to make the shock go down fast, but not rebound too quick. So I run the flat on top, and it allows it to hold that grip and hold that traction, which is why the LTS springs work for us, because we're not letting them bounce off of traction.
Yep.
And that's the one that people like want a car that hops and looks cool, but dude, you can bounce off of grip like in hops, Yeah.
If your car is coming back up, that is the opposite effect is less pressure on the tire. So
right. So I think that's another reason too, is that like 1-1 scale, they never really had to worry about a rebound. You can always be soft. There's a lot of weight pushing the shocks and suspension down. On the RC car, not so much. You know, so there's guys that can tune really well, utilizing the weight to not make it a brick, which is impressive. You know, like to be that heavy and not have to struggle to get it to transition is pretty impressive to me.
Yeah.
You know, and where it's visual, like everyone can see it, obviously is struggling. And then to be super light and have grip is equally impressive to me. So it's how you can do it, right? And track surface too, because high center, low center gravity and worried about max grip is a good point, because at Sheldon's, you're going to want as much grip as you can. On P-Tile, you don't. On P-Tile, you don't want to be super grippy. You want it to flow and be smooth. So yeah, it really does matter. Like high and low center, it could matter on where you drive the most, you know. I could see being high center gravity being a slight issue if you're constantly moving from surfaces. So I don't know that I would run center of gravity on a concrete surface. If you look at when Super G was run, there wasn't a lot of guys running high center, you know, when it was polished. And I think it had an adverse effect when the grip wasn't there to utilize the weight, the roll over there. If there's no grip, the body's not rolling over, it's just going there, you know. So I think that the grippierness is allowing us to utilize high center gravity more than how it used to be with a polished surface, you know. Maybe it again, like you said, tires and everything are keep changing, and there's so many different companies coming out with it's kind of crazy. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I tell you again, right? It's who you like to drive with, man. If you really like these guys and they're getting away from you like every time, you're like, man, like figure it out, you know?
Yeah.
So I need to bring this up.
Yeah.
Hi, Charlie. He's our Oregon spy.
Let me hold on. Let me take one more. But take a leak real quick. Sorry.
Oh, you're good.
Charlie's giving him away, dude.
Uh-huh. So I guess while we're waiting, some things that I've noticed over the week, or not over the week, but just things that we haven't done for a while. If you're looking at your radio firmware, if you have a 4PM, the current firmware is version 5.4. 7PX's 7PX, 7PXR is version 13. 10PXs are at version 11, which is hilarious. And then the receiver, R334 SBS, is at version 5, and the R404 is at version 2. Does that mean anything if your car still works right now? No. Usually any radio firmwares are going to be including newer servos for functionality. So like the CD700, the CT701, even the 500 series, stuff like that. But if your car is already working, then, and if you aren't in that Futaba like ecosystem of servos and that and whatnot, you don't need to worry about it. If it works, it works. Which, speaking of, since you guys actually run a whole bunch of 4PMs down there, did you guys ever run into the whole like the brownout interference issues with the 4PMs, Jeremy?
None of us have. I haven't seen anybody, even down at like Super G when it's super packed, or any of the comps we've been going to. I haven't. None of our guys have had a fallout.
Okay, because I literally rage quit and bought a 7PXR because of it.
Really? What receiver were you using with that?
334.
The 334?
Yep, and 304 did the same thing.
Interesting. I've had the only thing I've had close to that I've seen happen is a brand new Futaba just straight up fail, like just right out of the box, just not work. But that's about as close. I've never seen anybody, like you said, like having to rage quit because the controller just lost connection, or were you just getting like latency issues?
So it was actually a software thing. So basically, when I was around a whole bunch of guys that had 7PXRs and 7PXs, there would be a time where my radio would just like drop, and like kind of like a brownout, but not quite.
Okay. Yeah, interesting. I don't know. I wonder if they just made like a bad batch of these dang things at one point. You know, it's like it's so hard to say.
Oh, they did.
I've got guys that, yeah. I mean, yeah, one of our teammates bought a Futaba 4PM and the power button fell off, like off of the board. Not like we had to take the controller apart, and then he sent it back, and they tried to say it was him, and he's like, I mean,
No.
okay, yeah, like I desoldered the board, right?
Yeah,
like,
yeah. What?
Yeah.
That's not.
They ended up they went ahead and sent him another controller, and I don't know if they resoldered the power button on. They made it seem like that's what they were going to do for him, was just fix it, not replace it. But that was a silly thing. So I mean, it is a budget controller. You haven't had anything happen with your 7 or anything since then?
No, not at all. The thing is that it was all firmware related. The stupid part is that I got a radio at 4 p.m. that, like, when I tried to do a firmware update, it wouldn't let me do the firmware update.
Ooh.
So, and this is why I have like a little bit kind of saltiness dealing with Futaba right now. And my next endeavor, because I have a GYD 550 that it still works, but I can't connect via S-Bus to it.
Ooh.
And I've tried everything. So my last time I dealt with Futaba, they told me, they gave me a 10-week turnaround time, which I'm hoping is a lot better now.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's a lot. I haven't, the only experiences I've had with Futaba servos is like 3 of them, maybe with our local guys, and 2 of those have immediately like just burnt themselves, like literally melted themselves for no apparent reason. Yeah, well, no, after all being set up and like running for a little bit and just being destroyed. It's so weird. And so another buddy, like, his is so stiff you can't turn the car. Like, you can't turn it when it's not on, and it's just sitting on the table. You can't turn it, but he drives it every day and it's fine. But you can't turn it sitting on the ground. Like, you physically can't turn the car. It's weird. And
that is weird.
Crazy.
And it works fine. It works fine. My buddies, recently I just built Final Form, Shark, set it up. Couldn't even test it to set up the car because it shook itself to overheating without even driving. I literally turned the car on and it starts shaking, and I'm like, what's going on right now? So I don't have the best experience. My personal car, the only Futaba servo I have is a 500, and I use it in my LP86.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's because I saw a picture of them using one, man. I was like, man, I'm gonna use that. No, I don't.
I have 550s in all of my cars.
Yeah.
So,
for gyros. Yeah.
Yeah.
I only got a 550 because a couple guys got it. And I was like, let me check it out. And my biggest thing is like, how do I get it to feel like a V4 and not have like the shakes? Right.
See,
that's it.
That's my thing. If you're looking for a gyro to feel like something else, then you just need to buy that, like what you're trying to go for, right?
Hey, we're close now, man. Because I drive.
Oh, and we lost him.
Or no. Are we back?
You're back.
Jesus. So only my main comp car has a 550, and all my other ones have V4s. And I jump between all the chassis all the time, and I have zero problem. I do notice a little more stability, but I can't. It's not like I can't drive my other cars. They're great. So,
the biggest difference that I have is switching from a car that doesn't have a Futaba, or from a Futaba servo to a non-Futaba servo car, like going from RSST or SPO2 to a Futaba car. I like have to relearn the car because it feels that much different.
Huh? I wonder. I should drive your setup again. It's like it's so hard without knowing what each other. It's like
yep.
Yeah, and that's the best part. Like I think that's like my favorite thing about the hobby is like even in 1 month. Yeah, you don't know until you're. We have a handshake and it's on track, right? Like that's how we get to know each other. Like, oh, hey, nice to meet you. How you doing?
Yeah.
Instagram followers, social presence, many sponsors in the world, but when we shake hands on track, man, that's then we're in. We're homies. So.
See, the Keen Life. Just started using my Sanwa ESC and M17 combo. Definitely nice to tune on the fly without needing to be in the Futaba land. Yes, 100%. Like I've used the Sanwa system before, like the first iteration of it, and it is super nice.
Yeah, I'm not gonna argue that one. Yeah,
although the values are super weird too, though.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Yeah. I'm not learning new menus. So every time I get a new menu option, I'm like, oh, I don't know what that is.
Yep. Like anything that I get, any like new electronics or anything like that, I'll go through the like all the things just because I want to know.
Oh, so you're a stronger man than me, man. I'm like, it doesn't look like my menu. I don't want it. It's not easy enough for me. No, that's what happens.
That's the thing. Like a lot of people for like their Futaba radios, like when I go into them and like go into their menu and they, I ask them where is this, and then it's either not there because it's a 7px or it's like way back in the menus, and I show them how to like put it right on the first screen. They're like, well, you could do that.
Yeah. That's crazy, man. ESC tuning, I have a lot to learn for sure. We found again, sad but good at the same time. Like we found something that works, and we've all stuck to it, and it works great. Why does it work? Could we maybe get it to be better? Most likely. Have I found someone that I enjoy their presence enough, or do I feel like I am going to drive that style enough to take that tune? Is super hard, you know?
Yep.
Like, especially when traveling, you don't get to spend as much time as you could with someone. Like, don't get me wrong, there's amazing drivers and amazing tunes, and I'm impressed every time I go out of town with some of the drivers out there, but would their tune work the same for me, you know? So it's like, I'd love to have someone explain to me and how it can be better, but then I better drive their car better than I drive my car, or else this didn't work, you know? Like, I don't know. Losing tunes, right? We're all fearful of just losing a tune that we love so true and dear. It's like,
yep.
How dare you turn that knob?
That is facts.
Yeah, it's so crazy. Like, and then so to me it happened, right? Like I put the new shock tower on for the Rhino, the Shark. They make the new rear lightweight shock tower. And I'm like, sweet. And then I'm like, wait, this is actually lighter. Oh wait, the holes are in different locations. I gotta learn some things. So then I had to retune that little bit. And then I put the new Rhino shaft, the titanium shafts in there. Like, these are amazing, but then they're lighter and they're different. I was running the titanium golds. These are a little longer. So I'm like, oh, wait, now my height changed. Now I got to retune something that was like supposed to be just something I dealt with all the time, you know? And it ends up being a fight, man. But we learn.
It's a good fight, though. Like,
yeah.
Honestly, if you don't experience that fight just because you're either having someone tune it for you or whatever, right? You'll never know. Like, I can't count how many times I've gone straight back to stock just because I messed something up. So
what are you driving right now? I don't even think I know what either of you guys drive. What are you guys driving, man? What are you driving?
What am I not driving?
Okay. All right. I see you.
So I guess my Shark is my competition car. Like if I were to ever compete, right? Like that's the car that I can throw on the track and I know will drive the way that I want it to every single time.
All right.
And then from there, probably either, well, goes into the Yogi. So high motor Yogi, then low motor Yogi would be after that. Actually, low motor Yogi's been driving pretty nice right now. Yeah, so that's me. Logan.
Logan, you there? No, his mic's off on my end.
Oh, Logan. Yep.
He's off on your end too, huh?
I mean, yeah.
Hello?
There you are.
Hey!
Oh my god. I don't know why that happened.
It's not just me, man. I don't feel so bad. It's not just me, man.
Yeah, I have an MD2 and a YD2Z, but I'm trying to. The YD2Z is like my first car. I'm trying to get back into driving it, but I mostly drive the MD2.
Okay.
The 550, CD700, AccuVance.
But it's not just an MD2. It's an MD2 with our design deck.
It's our design FA1 conversion.
The ISO grid
thing?
Oh, yep. Sweet. I like the R design stuff. I use their bumpers on everything, just because I used overdose mounts on everything. I poke holes in all my bodies for overdose mounts, and so that adjustable bumper helps me get in between pop-up headlights and vents and everywhere I need to be. So
I have one of those on my Z.
Yep.
Yeah, he makes a lot of clever stuff.
It's great. Yeah, I haven't messed with the MDs. That's like the only platform I haven't messed with really is the Yokomo MD stuff.
Yep.
So one of my favorite chassis to drive here is my LTS, man. I put a DDS on the LTS. I put some pictures on there, but that thing, it's so funny because I put so much time into that car being just a weight shift, body movement, crazy machine. And then I got the LP86, and then I'll drive it and then put the LTS on the track, and people think it's still the LP86. I'm proud of that, because the LTS is way faster and way more just maneuverable than the LP. I love the LP, but I've already built F1 cars into drift cars, so it wasn't that unfamiliar to me. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
yeah.
one of our main
car
camera
life.
cars. Yeah, one of our main camera cars here is an F1 car. So with a D4, oh no, I'm sorry, a D3. The curved rack, the like old school with the big ass long front arms, the pink thing with like the arch and all the little ball bearings and stuff. But that's what we use for the steering of the F1 car.
Sweet.
Sorry, I'm still listening.
Oh, you're good, man. Go ahead.
So we need to switch gears because it's now just past 10 o'clock.
I can't believe it goes by so fast, you guys.
I know.
Holy
Every
crap.
time. Every time.
Jeez.
So what we're going to do is we're going to pop over to Product Watch really quick because we haven't done Product Watch for a while.
Let's do
There's
it.
some pretty big things this week, I feel like.
Like, honestly,
Did you catch the Rev D stream?
I have pictures for the things that I care about the most.
Okay.
I guess before we hit that, I do want to touch bases on what is it? Futaba and Accuvant's telemetry really quickly, because I'm late to the game on this. I think, like, Logan, were you able to figure out how to get both your ESC temperature and your motor temperature showing?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so that's what I thought. Found out. Jeremy, do you run Futaba? No, you run.
No, so a couple of our buddies do have that set up. I just don't know how they actually got through it, but yeah, I know what you're talking about. Having all the, I'm sitting here still looking at a voltmeter on my car that I have to solder in. Like these guys are reading everything. I got a shark mouth holding a voltmeter. So
I don't really pay. I don't really have to worry too much about my temps. It's kind of just fine.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, we have it, so that I mean that's why. So if you were to go into your telemetry sensors, and I don't know why it took me this long to figure out. I know that Guy brought it up one time, and he mentioned it, and I'm like, oh, okay, I need to learn how to do that, but I never asked him. So if you look through your telemetry sensors, you can put them in different channels, right? Or they're segregated into different channels. So 0 is going to be your receiver battery. Channel 1 is going to be your ESC temperature. Channel 2, if your motor supports it, which the only motor that I found supports it for what I have is the Fledge. I don't have an Agile, so I don't know if the Agile has it or not. Channel 2 is the motor RPM. Channel 3 is the wow, I'm all over the place. 0 is receiver battery. 1 is ESC temperature. 2 is RPM motor RPM. 3 is motor temperature. There you go, if it supports it. 6, and you have to skip all the way down to 6 for voltage sensor. There you go. So if you're wondering, that's how you do it. Although if you have a 10px and you want your picture, then you're screwed anyway.
Yeah, picture is way more important than all the telemetry stuff.
Okay, now let's get over to Product Watch. Sorry, that was my nerdy thing of the week.
We need someone to do that stuff.
Okay. So this is the new MST chassis that's coming out.
Oh, dang.
Sorry for the pixelated picture. That's just what I got when I copied the picture.
These guys are crazy, dude.
But I mean, Wrap Up Next already did it.
That's what I'm saying. I'm just like, what's going on over there? What are they doing?
Like, I applaud the effort.
Old parts. Trying to utilize old parts too. Yeah, they're like, we can still use this front mount. I swear.
Right. I mean, anyway.
Well, they had to put the servo back to make up for the weight they lost with the motor not being back.
Right.
At least watch them put the quick FDR switch on this, just because that's actually what it looks like already.
Yep.
Just watch them do it. Just more parts to break.
Man.
Coming in from Midpack Hero, got a new body, Mercury Sayaka SPL S15 body.
That is not horrible.
I also saw a new brand name coming out for bodies too, so I'm not sure what that's about.
Does this come with like the rest of the stuff to make it tech at our comps, or no?
I'm not sure.
The rear bumper. The rear bumper.
Right.
Yeah, that's
right.
what I was saying. Yeah, I was like, that's way more than 30 millimeters.
Yeah, I don't know if you're gonna get away with that. I run a freaking YD4 diffuser with the bananas on it, so no one can ever tell me anything ever again.
Brass spacers. Lance posted this. I mean, it's extra weight, kind of. I wouldn't think that it's enough weight to like actually mean anything though.
It's probably pretty minimally heavier than like steel, just because the spacers are so small. But
I would use those as long as they're on the wheels or on the hubs, you know, on like the wheel side of the weight. I'd be okay with that. But other than, I'm not a big fan of throwing weight on stuff that's not the rotating mass of it, you know.
Coming in from DES, we've got the I think kind of late to the game MD1 toe block adapters.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw this and I was like, I wasn't sure what it was for because they've just come out with so much new stuff, and then I realized it said MD and I was like, wait a minute, really?
Yeah, just so you can run traditional arms, lower arms.
Not against that. Not against.
I feel like they've been teasing this for a long time, and it's weird that it took so long. But
are you happy with the way yours is though, or would you run it?
Mine, I don't know. I don't know if they changed their tolerances or what on the two, but I have no issues with the way mine works at all.
Sweet.
The switch up from the MD1 to the MD2, their tolerances got a lot better on the MD2.
Okay.
So like the whole problem that I had with my MD1, like I couldn't stand the amount of like wiggle room you could have with a pillow ball system.
Okay.
But the MD2 is fine.
Okay. Awesome. So you're not worried about running this. It's not like a diet, like you need this saved your whole chassis. All right, good. I was curious about that because like the new, I'm sure you're going to come up with it, but the other new car that's coming up that's ball ends, I know you know what I'm talking about. But the Sakura that's coming out or whatever, it's the same style, right?
Oh, the D6?
Yeah. Like the D6, man.
Hey, the Keen Life is asking Jeremy, is there anywhere where we can get videos of you smashing doors?
In the 1-1 or the...
I think all of the above.
I mean, Driftwell RC Drifting Instagram page, there's a good amount of stuff on there. Yeah, I kind of keep it mixture of both, you know, 1-1 and 110. So
there you go.
Yeah, Driftwell RC Drifting. Our Facebook page it's so old, but it doesn't even see much of the light of day. So
okay. So,
this one's pretty crazy, right?
Yeah.
It is and it isn't. Because, so if you didn't know, he's holding up an RSST Pro servo, which is looking like it's this is Takahiro, by the way. An aluminum case, fully aluminum case for the RSST. Now, this was their plan from the very beginning. Like their out of the gate function was just get a servo that was cheap and ready for the beginner. Like they've been talking about this for a while. It's just never been on the public radar until now.
Yeah.
So I'm curious of how much it's going to be.
Yeah. I did not watch this video or whatever it was, but is this literally just an aluminum case or is there actually anything different?
I think it's thinner. I think it's thinner because the original Rev D servos are like too big for the DDS systems and stuff. They end up being a lot of weight. Or if you ever tried to put one on a ZX or a Z, they're too high.
Yeah.
So I think this one's like the same size as the Yokomo's. I think it's shorter. If I'm not mistaken.
Well, the only reason why the original RSST is 3 millimeters taller is because the motor, right? The motor was cheaper and it was stronger, so they went to that size. But it's kind of funny because you can't break the mold, because Yokomo.
Right, exactly. Well, it's crazy that it happened to not fit there, and then I tried to put it on my L6, and it didn't fit there either, the plastic one, without spacing it. So, yeah, that's why I put that Futaba 500 on my LP86, is because the Rev D one was a little tall. But yeah, I think this one's shorter. At least it looks like it in that video.
It looks like it. I didn't watch the video, but these are the clips that came from it. And then the other picture that I pulled from it was this. So I'm not sure if it's going to be plastic, although plastic would be cool. Like it's Durlin that they made out of their current arms. I don't know if that'd be strong enough though, like for how they have their rear arm. All in all, it's an active toe kit.
Yeah.
Hey, what are your feelings on active toe, Jeremy?
I like my wheels to go in the same direction in the rear as the wheels. You know, I don't really like one wheel doing its own thing, man. So none of us here run active toe. We run just a natural hard toe, you know. And yeah, something about the wheels doing their own thing, man. It's like, I don't know. I haven't been in one where I've been like, oh, I need that. So you don't run it now. And everyone that has had active toe here constantly asks us what can they do to gain a little more speed. So one of our first things is like get the active toe out of there. But if you're not on a speed chase, then active toe is probably great. You know. Go ahead.
What I didn't figure out is what this thing is.
It's just a body mount for like the Corolla.
Yeah, I was gonna say either that or it's those D3 battery mounts from behind the Transigen.
Right on top.
Yeah.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. That makes sense. An actual good mounting system for the Corolla, which I have been seeing pictures show up, but
there's a couple of them out there. They're still dragging their feet on that too.
Right, and I don't know if Addiction is going to be doing it or if they're just sitting on the 24K RC thing. Which did you guys catch the drama?
Oh my gosh, man. Yeah, man.
Paid
chill,
Facebook.
Man.
Yeah, that's so crazy.
Pay to chill, man.
That's very out of touch.
Like, the funny thing to me is, like, in my mind, I was like, $5 says if this dude does this, Facebook's gonna come in and shut it down right after that. Like, you've gone against our guidelines and standards. So
you would think something like that.
Yeah, he'd spend all this time like monetizing his Facebook profile. I don't know why that sounded weird coming out of my mouth, but yeah, it was strange. Like, I don't get it. Like, what are you giving these people for the money? You know?
I mean,
you guys might as well charge. You might as well charge, man. Like, you guys want to watch Yadma, dude? You better freaking pay up, bruh.
I mean, there is a member section.
Oh, right. But
it's not activated, but
yeah. No, that's funny, man. Yeah, I saw a little clip, a bit of it, and the thing that tripped me out is like their supporters, like guys that I know that supported them, were the ones like laughing at the situation. Like, really? And that's what tripped me out the most. Is like, how do your own supporters like not really agree with this? You know,
right?
It'd be different. Go ahead.
Well, it's just so out of touch. Like, what planet would anyone pay to be in a Facebook group to be advertised to? Because that's all that is. It's like we're able to, stay up to date on what they're doing. It's advertising. You're gonna have me pay you so you can advertise me? That's insane.
Yeah, man. It'd be different if they were sending you like a monthly booklet that had like all of their products in it, and like you had like an actual physical thing that showed up at your door.
Yeah, maybe.
I kind of miss that. I don't know if you guys miss that, but like getting a catalog at home and like just perusing through
all
the
CSS magazines or the little catalogs.
It felt good, man. Like I miss a Super Street magazine. Like bring back paper. No, I'm just joking. we'll, we'll trade it, dude. Give us throwaway paper straws. Oh man, low flex.
Well, yeah. So this was actually a surprise to me today. When I came across this, I'm like, oh, they left the chassis there, or they put it back. like this is good to see for me, because like I think there is so much. Well, I put so much emphasis on like there's not enough chassis here to like even be worth it. Again, I've never driven it. I've only seen Ben's drive that has one at our track. Apparently Chris has one too. But I'm glad to see that they have like full option chassis or full chassis now.
Yeah, that's again, if you're good at tuning with flex and it foregrip, like if you utilize the flex for what it's there, but flex to me only works with low center gravity stuff. Because otherwise, if it's flexing, it's not allowing the weight to transfer over. A stiff deck will allow the high battery to work. A flex deck won't allow the weight to shift over onto the, because it's going to bend the chassis. Not the, yeah. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. I've seen people like I've had some good flex stuff that tunes well, but again, it took me a mission to get it right and not just a crutch, you know. So,
and it's something that you have to like sit there and figure out. You can't just like do a chassis swap and call it good. That's not how it works.
I wonder if they made this because I wonder if they just made it because people hated on the flex so much. And to me, that's kind of a bummer too, to make something just because everyone hated on how flexible your chassis was and blah, blah, blah. Like, dude, if you don't know how to tune it and you want to use it as like, that's fine, but don't. I hope he made this with enough R&D to be like, yo, this is rad. And it works really well. I hope he didn't just make it to be like, yo, now it's not flexible, you guys should like it, you know, because.
So here's something that I don't know, but you can make the Hyperflex chassis stiffer than stock.
100%. It's all a matter of there's those sliding holes on the upper rails, and if you put braces between the two wings, they actually brace between the three. But yeah, same thing with the Megalodons. You can make that thing a wet noodle like an LP86, or you can literally stiffen it up past the stock Shark. So, right. And then even the stock Sharks, if you remove two spacers on the little, they got flex too. So, but I don't know. Yeah, it's cool that it's there. I just hope it wasn't made simply because people were mad at his thin chassis. It's your fault, Adam. No, I'm just joking.
I will say though, like the way that they do their carbon is probably the best that I've seen. Like aside from the RCO team deck, like their forge that they do, their like purple flake in it. That's cool. Like their chassis look really, really good. Like in person and in pictures.
I wonder, I don't know enough, but we have buddies that kind of mess with carbon fiber, and I've always like on a flat sheet, does it bend with the weave, or does it bend, you know what I mean, like a piece of wood? So I've always tripped out on that. Like you see the carbon running one way, but does it flex only with the grade of the line, or does it flex, you know what I mean?
I think it flexes in any direction, but it probably definitely isn't like uniform.
Right. Yeah. I'm wondering, because if you look at this chassis, it looks like the flex is like diagonal of the chassis, you know, like the pattern of the carbon goes diagonally up it instead of front to back.
That's just kind of, I think for the most part, those are all the fibers are either, you know, parallel or perpendicular. The pattern going diagonal is just kind of a,
I don't know enough about the carbon world. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It always just looked like that to me when I would mess with sheets and like, man,
they definitely like in racing and stuff, they definitely align the weave to make the part stronger.
Yep. They do it in drones too.
Yeah. But I mean, again, if you can make this stiff, like the guy that was just posting, if you can, like when you're making that stiff, I guess there's your weight saving. You know, if you really want to build a light, like an extra light chassis, those Carbon Furies, if you can keep them stiff and still be light, that's pretty rad. But again, like you said, it's just like a lot less material. And
then there's that DES chassis, the no suspension DES chassis that just dropped too, or that for pre-order. What is it? Their max weight that they were saying is like 1,100 grams. Like it's super, super light.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm very curious. I mean, I'm curious on that one too. F1 front end with a pretty much regular trans, right? Very similar style.
Okay, so we are gonna jump ship and move over to roast my rig, which we're gonna start with your chassis.
Oh, that's that. Yeah, let's do that. Let's roast these things.
All right. So because tonight is a competition night or pre-competition, we're gonna try to finish here a little bit earlier than normal. That way I can get my crap packed and all that fun stuff.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Let's see.
You want some
Okay.
info on it?
Sorry, what?
You want some info on these things?
Yes, we do.
Or you just want to roast them? That's also good. No, I'm just joking. So this is
mean,
we don't see a lot of, like, honestly, like Rhino Racing. We don't have, like, they don't have stickers they're giving everybody and this kind of stuff. So we wanted to do a body that was like, hey, thanks, you know. So this has like the Rhino logo. When you get to a different view of it, you'll see the front has like the Rhino on it. And then I kind of tried to take their logo and just make it onto a body, man. We really appreciate all what they've done for us. You know, I get there's people are like, oh, they've been doing it forever, a really reputable company. I'm like, man, they made 2 chassis or 3 Rhino Maxes. Like, they're not industry standard. They weren't industry standard by any means. Like, they made some cool stuff that was very much like a niched group of things. So now that they came out with this Shark and it overwhelmed them on, now we're not doing a 300 chassis run, we're doing a holy crap worldwide run. Like, yeah, man, I mean, a little bit of rockiness, but like, this was, we appreciate them much, you know. And underneath this was my first Rhino Shark, and you know, the Cotto family. I'm sure you're from name. No, I'm just joking. So Edwin Cotto, Papa Cotto, surprised me one day and gave me the Shark conversion, and this was a red Shark conversion, and he said, you know what, you can have it. And this is before our Rhino sponsorship. This is before everything. Edwin Cotto just gave me this car. So I had to find arms and shocks and stuff. But as far as the conversion and all that, that was a straight gift. And so I figured, you know what? If he's going to give me this thing, let me polish this. Let me put some work into it. Let me make this thing a little more beautiful, you know? So yeah, I just polished it up. Rev D upper and lower arms, Rev D rear arms, Rev D knuckles, all the way. Really cool Shark. We love this thing. One of those chassis that if I throttle it enough, it'll hop the front lip down to the ground and smack it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's a fun little car. But yeah, and then so there, you see some weights on that. I weighted my front knuckle.
Yeah.
And so just the knuckle side though, because this thing was so light, and with the DDS, it's so light that the front end had no grip. Like, it wanted to almost hop off of grip as well. But it seemed like that little, like, I think it's like a 6 gram weight, and maybe not even that.
Just settled it down a little bit.
Yeah, it just got the front wheels to stop doing, you know, weirdness. And then again, overdose mounts. We always cut holes. And this is before the R design bumper where it had holes. See, I used a Yokomo YD2S battery holder, and then made the overdose body mount go back a hole. Yeah, it's a funny car, man.
Can you do me one favor?
Yeah.
The next time you're around this car, I'm sure you are now. Let's dust it off a little bit. Let's wipe it down a little bit.
Oh man,
just clean.
You're 100% accurate, dude. Yeah, it's the track, man. No, it looks dirty because the floor, dude.
So, okay, question then. Would you build, if you had the option, a final form Shark, or would you build it this way?
I have them both, and I like them both. Obviously way more adjustments on the final form stuff, like all the arms and uppers and lowers. Mm-hmm. You'll see my full comp chassis is like a few pictures down. I sent you so many pictures for no reason, but I did a bunch of weird stuff.
I know, it's appreciated. Like,
yeah, it's fun. This part, I thought you guys would love this. See my rear body mount? It's a bent piece of sheet metal with a Velcro on it. And it's curved to the shape of the rear window, so that way it's like it fits good. But we run Velcro and overdose mounts. We don't run magnets on any of our cars. So that's a like literally just a piece of sheet metal, man.
And that's fine.
Yeah. And the voltmeter you can see still. Jeez. Yep. Oh, but hey, AccuVance motor with no fan. I was smart that time.
There you go.
Honestly, like, because I have one of those the end bell fans on my 15.5. I don't think it does anything. I mean, sure, it spins. I don't think it moves any like air.
Yeah, I don't think it does either. They're pretty.
I just don't think you need it. Like, it's just not necessary.
Yeah, we use fans here because it does get hot.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. If it is a hot locale, yes, for sure.
But again, that little thing, like he said, dude, they're literally barely blowing on that.
Yeah,
they're breathing on it.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's a fun car, man. We have fun with that thing. I still can't get those dang aero wheels to fit all the way on. You know how it is.
Are those the HPI ones?
Yeah, of course they are, man. But you just got down and make them fit or whatever. People do it, and I'm impressed.
Like,
they do so good.
I know that DS Racing just released their end caps for it, like for just any wheel. Yep. These are built differently. Like if we think that we've seen like super high traction wheels from like Topline or anything like that, these are just as squishy, if not more. Right.
Yep. Yeah, the HPI wheels in the back are very soft. I will say that those like high traction wheels, I forgot who makes them, but they have like, the Work Equip 05s. So those Work Equip 05s with the 8 mil offset, they flex on the front and back because the lip is so big. So to me, those are like the most flexible wheel I've used yet because they flex both the back side and the front side. That's pretty aggressive. But yeah. So what other weird stuff we got coming up? Oh yeah, so here's the LTS. And body mount on this one is hilarious because it's the trunk, which is opens and closes. So talk about body roll. Remember how I said the LTS kind of rolls like the LP86? It's because it's attached by very loose things.
Gotcha.
Dollar Tree Christmas lights are how we do most of our light kits because I don't like to power light kits off my chassis. So that's literally a Dollar Tree light kit with double A's.
Right on.
Yeah. Oh yeah, a little Dollar Tree sticker pack for the.
Is this like a Tamiya body? Lost him.
I don't
that's
think
a
so.
HPI.
Okay.
Yeah. Am I still there? Am I gone still, or am I good?
You're good. Now you are.
So, yeah, so this one is Velcroed front and back. But because I used to use the overdose mount that still has them in there, I wasn't going to, obviously take them out.
Mm-hmm.
But that body's been on so many chassis, and it's my outdoor body, my basher. I freaking love it.
It looks good. I like the bashed in rear end look.
Which monocoque is this?
Scale.
So this is the Wrap Up Next. They made that carbon kit, and I just copied it off my buddies. I literally laid his onto some carbon and traced it and made my own.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So it's a knockoff, that carbon sides and stuff. But it's funny because it's just two raw. It's like a standoffs in the center, holding the two sides together.
Mm-hmm.
And then the rear shock tower is how it mounts. And the front, it's mounted by the dashboard onto the upper deck of the YD2. And then that little e-brake is actually the upper arm the lower arm from a shark kit. The rod. Yeah,
Nice.
threaded
Okay.
down in there. Yeah.
Gotcha.
And if you notice that LTS, look at the battery. I put it up 30 millimeters from where they are normally. The battery is over the motor. It's hilarious.
I believe in that.
Yeah, it is. It is very fun car, man. Like that is one of my favorite things to drive. It's on an old school. That ESC is probably 9 years old, maybe 7 years old. It's like a XP or XR10, but not drift. Just before they made drift stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's also cooked a bunch of motors before. So, but we love it. It still runs. Oh, Bugatti seats. It's got Bugatti seats in there, man.
Oh yeah.
It even has the emblem on it. But yeah, so that's the Tut Tut with a D4 rear end.
This is oh, okay.
And then the over fenders on that are RX8 front fenders. So those rear overs are RX8 front fenders. Yeah,
Quad
Crazy.
exhaust.
yeah. The exhaust is SRC or whatever, sideways RC,
Mm-hmm.
and the wings actually off my Wind God S13 body.
Broccoli.
Yeah, there it is. So you can kind of see the rear end. It's a D4. So all I did was just slap the frame. I didn't even take the lower deck off of the trike. I just put it on top of the. Yeah, it's like screwed onto that thing. That thing works really good. I'm really happy with that car. It keeps up with all of our 110 stuff. So, but you guys have seen trikes. I'm sure you guys. Do you guys have trikes over there? Oh, good.
I think
I've
John has
seen
one.
one before. I don't. People don't
Oh,
really
they're
drive
super
them.
fun, man. They're so fun. I strongly recommend just a big train of those.
A train of trikes would be quite. That'd
Oh
be
man,
cool.
it'd be rad. Yeah. It's funny, the body in the background is one of my favorites too. Oh yeah, some more of that. It's just weird old, like I didn't know what to do with the D4 stuff, man. It was just still
Right.
around. You can't let it just go to waste.
Might as well do something with it.
I think I have 3 of those chassis laying around here. Yeah. Oh my god, why did I take so many pictures of that? It's funny you don't realize how much you took, and then you're like, oh man, it goes by so fast, the time.
Yes. Yes,
Why'd
it
you
does.
post a million pictures? I don't remember what's next. Oh, this thing. This is fun.
I can't tell what it is other
Oh,
than
come on.
Bosos.
Name all the bodies that made this thing, man.
Oh,
Come on.
geez.
You guys can see it right now, dude. You want me to tell you what it is?
Is it a semi? One of the semi truck things?
It is. The base is a bitty body. Yeah,
Okay.
a bitty body semi. The hood's a E36. The fenders bumper is FRS.
Oh yeah, okay, I can see it.
The front big window pillar is FRS. Yeah, it's good. It's a fun one. The interior is a full interior out of a Radio Shack H2 Hummer. So the plastic seats and the dash are out of an H2 Hummer, like a literal 110 scale RC car. And then the doilies, come on, man, that's a cup holder. That's a little cup holders you got at the thrift store. Made the wing. It's hilarious. It actually has the Hummer symbol on the steering wheel. But that's
It's
on
a
a D5.
Galm? No,
D5.
D5. Okay.
With OMG arms, front lower arms, like old school OMG front lower arms. And then I made the rear motor mount off of a Ronin. Pretty much a Ronin style. Like you remember when they made those 47 Ronin D5s? I don't know if you saw those or not. This company 47 Ronin, and so they made 47 of these chassis conversions. Yeah.
Okay.
We had two in Fresno, but yeah, that thing drifts. It's not a comp car or anything like that. We even printed the Heritage Heart wheels that everyone hates. Those are 3D printed Heritage wheels. Yeah, nobody likes those.
Okay, and
What
comp
else we got?
chassis.
This one I recognize.
Yeah, so that's my comp chassis right now. That's what I'm running. Love this freaking thing. Bodies, I had a plan for them, and I like where they're at. Do I think they're as good as our Beast bodies? Nah, but they're really good. I like them. They're all hand laid vinyl I cut out with the X-Acto knife. And
Nice.
it's funny because I have a plotter, I have a cutter. I just didn't use it. I never used it for my bodies. I just hand cut everything. Yeah.
I have yet to figure out how to do that on a Cricut. Like, because you're supposed to be able to print out and then go back and then cut, like do the cuts around it.
Mm.
Yep.
Still have yet to do that.
Yeah, it's a little bit of work, but it's worth it. Yeah, so see the YD4 diffuser with the bananas?
Yeah.
That thing is, I don't know if you've ever seen the difference between a YD2 diffuser and a YD4, but the YD4 is like an inch longer than the YD2.
Crazy.
Yeah, so if you've seen the Wind God bodies, this is the Wind God, or this is a Thunder God. I think it's the Wind God, whatever the Pandora Wind God. But that diffuser sticks out past everything, and those are hard plastic. So when I wall ride, like I comp with this body, and people are like, "Oh, I'm like, dude, you guys cheat with your little tiny short bodies. This is 3 inches past the rear wheels." Yeah, but it's like a weird flex because that wing is hard plastic, the diffuser is hard plastic. So pretty much everything that hits the rear of this car, I don't get any leeway on like a wall ride. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's-
There's no
it's
absorption.
Like if you hit, you're
immediately
hitting.
so-
Yeah.
Yep. And so I made this battery mount out of like some old battery mount parts, and then made a fan mount for it. We 3D print those little sharks for the fans. We love those things. Right.
That's pretty slick.
That's where my voltmeter is. And then I found out the spikes, those gold spikes, are the same millimeter as our bolts and nuts. So I use them for, instead of using a nut, I use the spikes.
Spikes from what?
Like the punk rock sets. Like you see those like cheesy,
okay.
like go to Hot Topic or like one of those
Yeah.
Gothic stores and you can buy a set. They're all the same size as our screws.
Sorry. I oddly enough, my mind went to like track spikes, like for shoes.
Yeah. So I have like the fantasy rear axle dog bones, you know?
Oh.
Yeah, those things are sick. I got like, I tried to go colorful. I haven't gotten every part yet, but yeah, those are the fantasy rear dog bones, man.
Those are cool.
I bought those ones and they have like the Nibellum ones with the green in it. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the fan mount on the battery tray I was real happy with because it's universal and I can move it from front to back. And then the battery mount itself is like, you can lower the lower part of the mount or move back the lower part, and the top part is adjustable. So it's like a two-way adjustable battery mount. Again, we like the high center if it's utilizable, you know, like this is a non-flex deck. So it's pretty stiff. I mean, it's still got flex to it. It's carbon. So, and again, the pictures, it's so funny to see that right now because it does not have that much toe out, but it sure looks like it in that picture.
Yeah,
I mean-
this shot always makes it look like you have more toe than you do.
Yeah.
I understand it. I'm aware of it.
Yep.
I do like the whole rhino theme going on with the spikes too.
Yeah, and there's a bumper, and I really like the Hydra bumpers are so nice, but I don't run anything with the narrow posts, so I can't run it. Like,
Yeah.
And it was so sad because I'm like, can you guys make a hammerhead shark front bumper? Because I think that just make it look like the nose of a hammerhead. Yeah, dude, what a crusty rear diffuser! Like looking at it on camera is just so funny. That is so burnt. And by the way, that's like the stuff on the banana isn't dirt. That was a flake paint job from before it did gold. So don't you love a good flake? When you do it good enough, it looks like dirt.
Yeah.
If you do it proper, it'll look like dirt. So you're real.
You too can make it look like dirt if you try
Yeah,
hard.
that's how you know you did it right.
No,
When everyone
like
thinks
the-
your car's dirty, you did it right. What is
how many
that
belts? How many belts have you gone through?
Oh, what do you mean, dude? You go through belts? I'm just
No,
kidding. Yeah,
no,
of
no,
course.
so,
Yeah, no,
like-
dude, a bunch. These belts, if you don't set it up right and you don't pay attention, you'll lose a belt.
I
How
have yet to break a belt.
You know what's crazy? Every belt I've broken is at comp day.
That's annoying.
Conveniently
Yes.
enough, I did it at championships. I did it at this last one. I like to break belts during comp. It's like
And
my favorite.
how annoying, because you got to take that entire thing apart.
No,
there's,
you don't.
There's no short. You
There is
don't
a
have
short. Yes, there is shorts. So the way I don't have a mouse to point at this thing right now, but yeah, you can take one side of the trans off and get to
Okay.
the belt and replace
Okay.
the belt. So obviously you're gonna have to pull the shock tower over, and there's that little aluminum piece that goes from to the upper deck. You gotta
Yeah.
pull whatever side of the trans you're gonna pull. Just make sure you pull that side of the screw out. But
Mhm.
then you can just pull one side of the trans off and change the belt. So there is ways around it.
I mean,
Okay,
but
yeah,
you're still taking a lot off.
you kind of like unbolt it and then flop it over to the side,
hmm
and then like your shock tower, everything else just kind of flays over to one side, and it makes it pretty convenient. But yes, you are right. You take off a lot, and it's Mondo just did it last round too. Like literally, he qualified. So before practice, he showed me his belt. He's like, "Bro, I'm missing 3 teeth." I'm like, "Can you drive it?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool. Get through qualifying. We'll fix it afterwards." So he literally qualified with 3 teeth missing, and then we changed the belt before he had to do his battles. But yeah, we really don't like touching our cars on comp day, so
Right.
anything we do is a bummer, you know.
Yeah.
I will.
And we lost him. On quite the interesting face.
Under the battery, just go on top of the battery.
Oh, there we go. Sorry, we
Oh
lost
no!
you.
Look at that. Grr, goo. That's the Adam Sandler pose. That's funny.
Wow.
But yeah,
There's a lot of the leading, so really low and really high on the out.
yes, as low
That's
as
a
I
lot.
possibly can without touching that arm onto the. And so what that does, not only is it the camber gain and all that, or not camber gain, whatever that, you know. Yeah, camber gain. We'll call it that. And then when we roll, like if it rolls over, the wheels stay planted. So that's why we do it so low and so high.
Do you have any interference with the rear shock tower?
Oh, not at all. Not
Okay.
even a little bit. Yeah, the deck will hit before the. Well, so that's the other thing too, is I want to make sure everything hits before the rod and the shock bind. I don't want the shock to hit up to the top of the piston and mess my diaphragm up, right? So I try to make sure that that rod never goes fully extended and never goes fully compressed.
Okay.
So yeah. But yeah, so that little rod holding the fan on that mount is just like you bolt it off and throw it to the other side of the battery mount if you want.
Nice.
I don't know why. I also don't know why I'm so proud of that fan mount. I've mentioned it like 4 times. That right there, I don't even care about the car, dude. That's so funny. Oh man, why did I take such close pictures of my car?
Because you
It's
knew
so
that it was
funny.
called Roast My Rig.
Even though it looks like a Minecraft character from my camera, I can still see how bad. I hate that like people ask me all the time. They're like, "What front springs do you run?" I'm like, "Oh, Rev D Blues," and they'll come over and like, "Dude, I got the Rev D Blues." I'm like, "Why are yours different than mine?" "Oh, they make
got
different lengths." I'm like, "Oh, well, that's cool." "Oh, they make different thicknesses." I'm like, "What?" "Well, it's blue, right?" "Yeah, they're blue." I'm like, "Oh my god."
Let's say you have the original linear spring, like that's super thin and super light. Then you have the version 1 of the progressives, and then the version 2 of the progressives, and then the super shorts of the progressives.
Right, and they're all the same blue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's helpful. That's helpful. Definitely excited about that. You know, that's why I like the LTS springs, man. They're $9. They're all the same. Get them.
Then we got the overall track here.
Oh yeah, that's a literally yesterday or today.
That's a pretty nice setup for the space you have. I like that.
Oh, thanks. Our problem is that like our problem isn't the cars will fit the track. It's the driving places.
Yeah,
Right.
I can see
like,
that.
Yeah,
Just
we don't have
cramped.
a place to stand, and so I do open
Yeah.
my bay door, which is where like the Karama, the tailed beast back there is, and I open that, and we get like 3 more spots to drive. You know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's our biggest issue is just having a place sometimes, but man, we all take it, you know?
Yep.
We'll sacrifice that. Oh yeah, some of our little Boulevard, Heartbreak Hotel.
This is more in line with what I want to do at PDX. Just
This is
like
made up.
facades against the back wall instead of whole buildings.
Yeah, and it's just it's a 3-folded piece of chloroplast. So like that plastic cardboard.
Yeah.
And yeah, pretty quick buildings. There's a far one at the far end, and that one has you can't see in this picture, but it's a replica of our building here. Yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. That's funny. We got Bruce Lee fighting in the GG2 building, and you got in the Heartbreak Hotel. Yeah, that's funny, man. Oh, you know.
And we lost you.
Lap. God damn it.
You're
You're
back.
fine. It's okay.
I'm back again. Yeah, I'm gonna put one more picture on the Roast My Rig spot, and it's just our outdoor view of our spot. And you can see the chaos. And you can see my 1-1 car, dude. I leaked
Oh yeah.
it. I leaked it on there, dude. Look at it. It's leaked. It's leaked. So that's my cube, because I'm a weeb. And, you know, I'm a big Naruto fan. I don't care what anybody says. That's funny. But yeah, so that's my drift car on the left.
Nice.
You said that no one cares about it. I mean, clearly it is something to look at.
It's It's fun. It's a little beat up right now because I was kind of practicing some bank wall rides at they have a NASCAR track here, and it's just got huge banks, and it's hard to get really high on a bank with low horsepower if you're not set up. So I'm working on that 240 right there. Good buddy, the car got kind of neglected, and we're gonna make it look not like that anymore because that looked really bad. And then there's the 8.6 shell. But it's our outdoor spot, and then obviously there's that bay door opens. We can drive.
Who does all of your artwork?
Me mostly. Yeah.
Oh, right on.
Yeah, if you guys ever need any random drawn stuff, I mean, you're killing on that. He took my logo and just switched it up real quick, man.
Oh no, that was nothing. That anybody can do that. I can tell you how to do that. Like,
so it's weird because I have these. Every time someone tells me that, I go look for it in my programs, and it's like, yeah, that feature fixed for you, bud. I'm like, man, did you guys lose me again?
No. You kind of dropped, but anyway.
On my screen, on my screen that I'm looking at two screens right now, and one of them is like, I don't exist, and the other one's like, all right, you're moving, you're not moving. I don't know what's happening.
Right.
I can't wait to watch back at the video because there's so much lag going on with all the screens.
I know, right?
I have no idea what's going on. It works out. I can hear you guys fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why I switched it over to this format, for like using what you see on the stream on our screen for the meeting. Anyways, details that no one else cares about. So it is 11:52. I said we're gonna call it a little bit early. Which is what we're actually gonna do. So we're gonna start closing things out. Hey, Jeremy, where can we find you on the face walls and the Instagrams and all that other fun stuff?
Instagram is just Driftwell RC Drifting. Driftwell RC Drifting, and then my Instagram or my Facebook is just Jeremy Meyer. Just my name, Jeremy Meyer. Yeah, that's it. I don't really not really hide nothing, man. We're an open door policy over here, and if I got a nickname, it's because you gave it to me. So so we're in there, man, for sure.
It looks like Jake is looking for some artwork to be done, so he might reach out to you.
Yeah, please do, man. I love to get weird. Let's get some. I mean, we can get normal too, but I prefer weird. I like a very specific kind of weird, though. So.
All right. Well, thanks for coming on, Jeremy. Hang out for just a little bit after we end this thing.
Yeah.
Just
I'm honored, man.
Ending thoughts and whatnot. Logan, do you have anything else to say?
I don't. Maybe next time.
Get better internet.
Yeah.
If you did notice, we've got new little face cam windows. If you like those, like it, I guess. Hopefully there's enough hot dogs for Logan there. Yeah. Anyways, if you like it, subscribe, do all those fun things. If you made it this far, congratulations. You guys are awesome. Reminder of 10 a.m. door open policy, or doors open tomorrow at PDX. We will see you there, Logan and I. And yeah, we will catch you guys next week.
Yeah,
Yep.
buddy.
Later.